Hi, this will be my first video in more than 3 months, made with various video editors and screen capture programs, because my computer screen had suddenly turned all black. Then had that repaired, lost all my software, and had to buy and install it all new. Which for me, the dummy with computers, my burnout and homeless situation, wasn't easy at all. I'll be turning 60 this year. My hair has turned entirely white and grey. I'm an old geezer with a limp, homeless, and would like to retire and get a rest. So, if the computer holds out in the next few videos, I'll gradually show you the next generation of young producers who carry on the legacy of my ancestors on The Enemy Within, for I'm neither royalist nor Republican. So the first one in row, and you wouldn't believe it, is Swissy here, by the YouTube name of Rotex BMW Drift, because he likes drifting around corners with his block differential on his supercharged BMWs. But it's about the interview I gave, so here you can see it. It is in German. I guess you can put subtitles. And for all the ones who are watching my videos who do speak German, so here's the whole title here. John Ross spricht über sein Leben, die Schweiz und was sich seit Jahrhunderten nicht geändert hat. So he made the title. And here, Rotex trifft John Ross. Gibt es vielleicht verborgene Geheimnisse hinter Maßvoll und ihrem Logo? You see that M symbol. I'm going to explain, what it means. It's the controlled opposition. So he used to like, BMWs and drifting with a block differential, until this whole thing started with the Pharaoh's poison here. So he started filming demonstrations, and but here you can see some of his old videos, like taking a corner, like in a 90 degrees, like spinning around the corner, like in a Hollywood mode, and Hollywood mode, sorry. So, okay, a lot of cars, but it's about the interviews in German. Drifting corners with block differentials might be cool, but I see no more, no less than a getaway car in the whole exercise, hanging out the goodies and blasting away. What a sweet dream. I accepted Swissy's visit out of tactical reasons, like a Trojan horse gnawing at the ancient pillars of the Swiss utopia in the Alps, having my own Swiss Trojan horse, or rather horsepower in this case, inside the Devil's Caves. Of course, the Swissies are the most perfected breed of humans, after Pharaoh's principles and their Templars' criteria concerning their feudal slaves. For over 2,000 years, the best Swissies have always been bred out, merely selecting the Swiss banker mentality, with a counting machine at the place where their hearts should be. Ain't Swissy, ain't that so, eh? But hey, if I, homie Ross, can wake up some young, disillusioned homeboys of Switzerland, then so be it. And let's bring it on, boys. Last month we did 2 interviews in German, and made in the French mountains of the Alsatian territories. So you all see the 1984 on his BMW, a block differential. So Switzerland is the 1984, the utopia of Pharaoh in the Alps. So, all you German speakers, I wish you great fun with the interviews. As it seems to be, the Alpine hillbillies watched the first interview more than the other, apparently due to the fact that I explain the occult logo of the controlled opposition concerning Pharaoh's bug war, who have definitely been sent by the two biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world, who both come out of Pharaoh's base in the Alps, Roche and Novartis. So I explain in the video that this is not a normal M. It's first of all, it's the M for Mason. And these are like the two pillars, Yashin and Boaz. And here it forms a square, as in the square and compass. And the compass is of course in the circle, because with a circle, with the compass, you can make a circle. And it has 2 times the Templar V in it here. So it's completely Masonic and pharaonic. So you see, my hair turned in grey. I'm, the old geezer. And I hope the new talents here, they're gonna continue the work. And so he even got it here, 1984, here in his channel. Here you can see his channel. So go give him a hand. And so here again you can see is the name of his channel, Rotex BMW Drift. Here's the title, as I pronounce it in German. Rotex trifft Sean Ross. Gibt es vielleicht verborgene Geheimnisse hinter Maßvoll und ihrem Logo? And so here you can read it here in German, but the best would be you go and visit his channel. If I don't forget, I'll put the link in the description. Yeah, so you German speakers, go team up and wake up the hillbillies in the Alps. There are like 1 or 2, that who are okay, amongst. Well, you know what I mean. 33% of Roche belonged to Novartis. So they're in fact one and the same company, most certainly into illegal cartel agreements amongst each other. So, due to the enormous amount of money Roche made themselves with their PCR machines and the conflict of interest, Roche could just lay down $20 billion after the very good business of infecting the world with Pharaoh's Wu flu. So well documented by Wolf Clan Media and Chris's video. Here you see Wolf Clan Media and Chris. This is the video you should definitely watch. You can find it on Brighteon and I think Rumble, and also on this Wolf Clan Media site. This here is an interview. In the comments, even me as I'm in it, and so here, there he is. And so go follow Chris. He's also one of the new young talents who you should definitely follow. Go watch this video. So this is the follow-up, what I'm telling you, that 33% of Roche, it belonged to Novartis, 20 billion, can you imagine? And after the Wu flu, they just laid down 20 billion and bought it back, so Do you need any more proofs, eh? So here's Chris's channel, Wolf Clan Media, on YouTube. Of course, because of the censorship, he couldn't put the other video you just saw. He couldn't put it on in YouTube because they would have taken it off immediately. Here there's a here you can see the whole title. Swiss banksters call police and assault journalist Sean Ross. Who's Sean Ross? I heard that name before. Who's that? Oh, so go and watch this video. And there's a lot of more interesting things. So go check out this guy. He's going to be big. And I'm going to retire. So I hope all these young guys, they'll continue the work.
Don't touch me.
Some more.
Swiss banksters assaulting
and so go check it out yourself in his channel, Wolf Clan Media. Well, so there we are again. Wolf Clan Media. Swiss banksters call police and assault journalist Sean Ross. Go check him out, support him, and I mean, yeah, go and subscribe, and I'm sure he's gonna do a lot of more interesting things. By the way, the Swiss Parliament in Bern, it also looks like this with a tower on it like this. So after the 2008 financial crisis, the Swiss banks were grounded from further Swiss banking frauds through heavy international control. So Swissy had to come up with something new. In December 2019, starting Friday the 13th. Charles here is another young talent and fan of my videos who will take over when I'm gone. So here you can see Charles, and this is one of his channels here, Jesterman. Go and leave some comments. He's a cameraman for Rebel News Canada, and he has several channels. Here on his channel Pharaoh Tales and Tells, he recognized the origins of Q, which is a brilliant find of his, to which I can fully agree. Here, this is the Order of the Garter, and the Garter itself, it makes a Q. Wow, fantastic. Well done, Charles. So, this is the name of his video here. What is Q, or who is Q? And it's on Charles, his channel here. Pharaoh Tales and Tells. Ah, I even left a comment there. He talks about hopium. They use hope as a drug, you know, to lure us into doing nothing. Hopium. Fantastic. So go and have a look at this video, and make sure you leave some comments, and this is really good work, very important. So here in my channel Gure, same channel, and here is the title: Behold the pale horse unicorn of the Order of the Garter for the union of the old world's order with the new world's order. Channel Gure. So after he saw my video here explaining the Order of the Garter, Charles recognized the letter Q in the crest of the Order of the Garter. You see, this is a Q. There you go. So Charles has the ability to see beyond the veil. The enemy has drawn over everything, as the first weapon against us is the lie and the concealment. Concealment, just as John F. Kennedy stated in his famous speech for which they killed him. I read it for you. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means, concealment, you see, for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. You know, like the Swiss police, you know, like putting 3 guns in my head, intimidation, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. You know, clean Switzerland, you know, that it all happens in the night, you know, during the day it's all clean and neutral and all that. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, you know, the WEF, the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, Knights Templars, the first multinationals in history who invented the banks. You see, economic, scientific and political operation. You know, their first weapon against us is the lie and the concealment. Just as Q. Thank you, Charles. Charles also has the channel Jesterman, where he goes hunting for occult symbols in Canada. Like in this video here, pharaohs in Ottawa. Go check it out and leave a comment. So of course we see the octagon 3 times, you know, for the concept of 3, which is them. And so there's the video, Pharaohs in Ottawa, Jesterman channel. And okay, go leave a comment and subscribe. So here it is. Behold the pale horse unicorn of the Order of the Garter for the union of the old world order with the new world order. And as I've explained you in my video here on the Order of the Garter, that the order has been founded by the Knights Templars in order to keep the peace between the 2 nobility sections, the Royalists and the Republicans. And as I've explained in this video here on my channel Homeland Security, entitled Pharaoh Trump Genealogy Blood Ties to Hillary, Global King Aristocracy Masters over US Slaves, that Trump is a genuine aristocrat from his mother's side, and even related to the royal houses of Denmark and Norway, thus representing the royalists by his ancestry. But as Trump was also the president of a very important republic, he had to find a way to give concealed messages to the 2 groups within the aristocracy to keep them in peace with each other. Thus, using the traditional tool for this goal, the Order of the Garter, but in a concealed 21st century way, so all the initiated would understand it. Q. As the letter Q resembles the garter of the Order's logo and crest, and a snake they are indeed. This is the garter. Where we go one, we go all. As already explained to you, this is from the Knights Templars who made the Republic, and it stands for all for one and one for all, as it stands on their first and most important base in the Alps, in Swaziland, where it says on the ceiling of their parliament, Unus pro omnibus omnes pro uno, which means where we go one, we go all. This means that serious frictions within the nobility between the royalists and the republicans are augmenting again, which is, of course, the basic reason behind the reasons I've already told you for the Ukraine war, which you can see here in these two videos and the third one. Because all wars we had have always been about internal frictions of power within the nobility, for which the dumb slaves have to bleed for. So this here is the basic of all the reasons behind the reasons of the war. The strife between the horizontal rule of our masters and the vertical rule. The internal strife between the Republicans and the Royalists. And this is why that Trump now says that under his presidency, the Ukraine war would have never happened because of Q, which you can see here, the Order of the Garter, for peace and order within Pharaoh's community of our masters. None of our masters' systems will provide freedom for humanity. The royalists will honor valors, honor the creation, and rule obviously and in the open, in a typical vertical feudal rule, whereas the Templar Republicans of the horizontal rule are totally satanic and rule in concealed ways. But in both systems, we will always be their slaves. It needs a new system, and I'm neither royalist nor Republican. And if my computer holds out, I might present you all how the new system should look like. And remember that the Antichrist, with an E for anterior, coming before, is the good guy and not the one afterwards from the royal house of David, of our pharaonic masters, who will always kill the good guy to replace him with one of theirs, so they can have everlasting peace for themselves, while humanity will be locked away under a very peaceful, total control system forever. Here it says, the Federal Presidency of Switzerland in the colors of the Knights Templars. One for all for one. This is what the Knights Templars said. Unus pro omnibus, omnes pro uno, which says on the ceiling of the Swiss Parliament. One of a kind. Switzerland doesn't have just one head of state, but 7. And you can see there are 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're the concept of 4 and the concept of 3. There you go. It's always the same. The government known as the Federal Council is made up of 7 members elected by Parliament. They have 7 heads of state. So Switzerland is the end times beast with 7 heads of state and 10 ministries, with all nations traded through its Swiss Nazi Templar banks. And out of this evil place, there actually is a man today who has actually given a number for his child's name. And this descendant from the base of all evil, has announced an idea so incredibly evil that it can only have come out of the beast with the 7 heads of states in the Alps, which in fact it does so. This man out of the Swiss Haldemann nobility, with the Isis horns in his coat of arms, has officially announced that before the end of 2022 he will connect a human brain to a computer in order to give us a chip in the forehead and one in the hand. They say he's the richest man on the planet, worth $200 billion. He has many wives, with whom he had 10 children with. The 11 died. One got born out of a surrogate mother, artificially inseminated. And number 12 got the number 12 in his name in Roman ciphers. I guess with so many kids, you just stop giving them names and just give them a number. So here's the name. Remember this well, because you can already, this is officially, you can see already here there are 2 different writings. Here's with an A, Haldeman, and here's with an I. And sometimes it's only with one N, sometimes it has a D behind, but it's all the same. And the origins are Swiss German from the Emmental. Here you can see the Isis horns, with Isis, the goddess, the pharaonic goddess, head on her head with the sun in the middle. Exactly the same, because these people are all pharaohs. And look at the magic wand here. You know, like connects a person, his brain, to a computer, you know, with a magic wand. And here you see the concept of three red lines, and the concept of 4 for the white lines in the Templars colors, red and white. You know, these people, they do miracles with the magic wand. You know, it's the right hand of Freemasonry. You know, the hidden hand is the right hand, because with the right hand you kill someone, or you write something down, an order or something. So this is their official coat of arms. And also here's the concept of 3. You know, they got 4. They got 4 colors here. And so remember this name very, very well. In Swiss German, you pronounce this Haldemann. Hauen, it means to hit or to strike. Haldemann. You know, Nazi Templars, the Swiss mercenaries. But let's say Haldeman. Remember that very, very well, because it's coming back in this video. This is number 12's name, which looks kind of out of a science fiction sci-fi movie, with aliens and artificial insemination by the guys in the spaceship. The official name is XAEA-12. A child for a purpose, instead of a child you love, indicated so by the choice of name that looks more like the code for a product or some military upgrade. At the end of the name you see the X11 for 12 in Roman ciphers, and the AE combination of the second icon exists in German and in Swiss German for the A umlaut, pronounced E. The name of this extremely dangerous Swissie is of course Elon Musk. And don't have yourselves fooled by his 3 accumulated nationalities: South African, American, and Canadian, of which he's none of them. He's, in fact, of the very powerful Swiss nobility bloodline of Haldeman from the Swiss Emmental region, in which I actually lived like 10 kilometers away, about which I even heard the Swiss say that it is the most dreadful Swiss region. And oh boy, did they make me feel this. The Emmental region, where the Haldeman nobility of Elon Musk's bloodline are from, was also the worst region for the Swiss slave children, also called contract children nowadays. And the Swiss slave children era lasted until 1989. You see, Nubians, Indians, jaywalkers, and the rest, that Pharaoh's nobility also kept white slaves until 1989, long time after the abolishment of slavery in the US. Many years ago I made this video here on my channel Gatsefrats about, here's the title: Switzerland own African slave trade slavery ships of Swiss Navy. How the Swiss are into the international slave trade in the Americas, on my channel Gatsefrats here. So there are a lot of names now known. So to get rid of the bar here, I'll just turn it on here. So you can see a lot of names here, like here Schlumpf. They even have one of the 7 heads of states, I think actually now, Widmer Schlumpf, a woman. Well, her family was also in the slave trade. And the Swissies, they even had vessels, slave vessels, by the name of Helvetics, like CH, Confederatia Helvetics. All with Swiss names: Pays de Vaud, City of Lausanne, the names of the slave trader vessels. There are many names here, you know, like here, down here. You have the names here: Zollikofer, Kunkler, Riedi, Gonsenbach, Depury, Favre, Rossel, Labhart, Zellweger. Renée Zellweger, yeah, she's Swiss. You know, the famous American actor. Well, her family was in the American slave trade. That's why they stayed in America, hey? And her head also looks very much like the mother of Elon Musk, same sort of the head form, the skull form. Got the name Vetter, Rieter, Escher, a famous painter, I think, or Louis-Henri Fourgeau, a colonel. Here, Colonel Louis-Henri Fourgeau from Geneva assisted in suppressing a slave uprising in Berbice, Guyana, and uprisings in the Suriname. Captain Wip from Schaffhausen was commander of a Swiss battalion instrumental in the attempt to re-establish slavery in Haiti. Isaac Melville, citizen of Basel, at the service of the Swedish African Company, founded a slave castle off the coast of modern Ghana. Well, I mean, they're all Swiss, you know. It's Dunant and Faccio owned various plantations. You know, Henri Dunant, the guy who founded the Red Cross. Well, the Red Cross is just is nothing more than a spy organization. So it's all Swiss, and it's all because of the Nazi Templars. I'm very, very sure that if you dig a little bit deeper in it, in the Swiss involvement in slavery and the transatlantic slave trade, if you dig a bit deeper into it, well, you find the family name of Haldeman, and you know, of course they're in it. I mean, he was having friends like Henri Bouquet, and who genocided the Indians with through biological warfare. You know, this is not a clean, neutral country about which you never hear anything, people. They are not. They're very dangerous, which you can see now happening with sticking electrodes in your brain. Or you can stick it somewhere else, eh? Here you can see the Haldeman tax collector in some historic writings. So this is the mayor's office here of Eggyville. Eggy, it's like Swiss German, like in Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Egger, it means to work the land, you know, to turn the land like upside down, like. And here it says Emmental. So this is the region where they had many children slaves, where it was most of them, they were in this region, where I lived as well, and had a horrible time. And this is where the ancestors, nobility of Elon Musk's, where they come from. And here it says the tax collector Haldeman, he had problems. He was angry on the French because Napoleon, he invaded Switzerland. So of course, the old nobility, they were the vertical rule, and Napoleon, the horizontal rule, the republic after the revolution. He was destroying the vertical rule of the nobility all over Europe, even going to Russia, Moscow, and Germany. And so this is why the local nobility, Haldeman, they were angry. He says, "Es ist toll und rasend." He was really angry. You know, that the French, they were like disturbing the good business of tax collecting by the nobility in Switzerland. And this is where Elon Musk's mother comes from, as she writes herself in her own biography, that her Swiss Haldeman bloodline left Switzerland for Philadelphia in the year 1727, and then crossed the border to Canada, right next to Philadelphia, of course. So here you can see his picture. There he is, Swissy. Look, and here it says, Elon Musk's maternal side of the family can be traced back to the villages in the Emmental region of Switzerland. Okay, I'll read it for you here. Tesla's CEO Elon Musk had roots in a small picturesque farming region in central Switzerland. Using genealogy websites and local archives, historians have been able to connect Musk with the Haldeman name, which is still present in the Emmental region today. And remember the ISIS horns, and that I've shown you just before, that it's the nobility. So it says, you know, May Musk, Elon Musk's mother, was born May Haldeman on April 19, 1948 in Canada. In her autobiography, she says that her father's family emigrated from Switzerland to Philadelphia as early as 1727. May Musk, double M, MM, and others who have written about Musk's family have never been able to identify exactly which village in Switzerland the family comes from. Well, I can promise you that they know it. They know this perfectly well. They just don't want to announce to the whole world that their origins are from a Swiss castle in the Emmental region by the Haldeman nobility. So I'll read furthermore for you. Using genealogy websites, the Sonntagszeitung was able to trace the family history back to 1544. At that time, Bartholomeus Haldeman was born in the town of Zignau in Emmental. This is 11 generations before Elon Musk's great-grandfather, John Elon Musk, was born. So it means the Musk line of his family has no meaning at all, as I've told you. Bartholomeus' son Andreas Haldeman was born in 1572 and his grandson Peter Haldeman on August 19th, 1593. Local archives based on church records validate this. Based on the journalist's research, the Haldeman family emigrated to the US in 1719. And there they renamed themselves Haldeman. The I became an E, because in German you say Haldeman, like an E here, Haldeman, and here in English Haldeman, Haldeman. It's the same. They even added a D, which I'm going to show you later on. They renamed themselves just like Hoover, who his real name was Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover, and President Herbert Hoover. They were Swiss Hoovers. You got another one. There they renamed themselves Haldeman and settled in Pennsylvania. It's clear that Elon Musk has roots in Zignau and Eggyville. I just showed you Eggyville, remember? The tax collector Haldeman. Because the Haldemans have lived in this area since time immemorial. Another origin is impossible. Do you hear this? It's impossible, another origin, because outside of the Emmental region, this surname never appeared at that time, said the local historian. Well, you can see his name here. So here you can see a genuine picture of Elon Musk's mother, May Musk Haldeman, of the Swiss Haldeman nobility of the Emmental, where they kept slave children until 1989. So she is a world-famous model, obsessed with eternal life, staying young forever, and certainly taking the embryonal youth elixir from the Swiss Prairie Clinic, about which I've already talked to you about. Not difficult to see where her son got all his eternal life ideas from. Having an obsessed mother with the very same idea, which happens to be the obsession of the entire pharaonic elite ruling over us, who basically are a bunch of vampires sucking up human stem cells. And believe it or not, this too is a genuine picture of Elon Musk's mother of the Haldeman bloodline. And you see, I told you the color red, a red ring here. She knows exactly what she's doing. The red dress, and here's white, for the colors of the Knights Templars, but anyway, the red ring definitely indicates, you know, the old world order, the vertical rule. The Berthtasser, the red house of Pharaoh. She knows exactly what she's doing, and I know where she is from. Therefore, Elon Musk is having the graphics of a life machine in his Neuralink logo, which you can see here. This is his Neuralink logo. This is the graphics of a life machine, you know, in a hospital. And Neuralink is the company that wants to connect us to a computer before the turn of the year. And seeing the horizontal line in his logo of the life machine, standing for clinical death of the life machine. They probably want to kill us. Then take your soul and keep your soulless body forever connected to a computer for the organ harvesting for the elite's eternity program nightmare. So here you see the life machine, and this is going to be you or your child. And this is the logo of Neuralink. This is exactly this. Now, why did the dude take the graphics of a life machine for the logo? You ask yourself this very serious question. So this is again the graphics of the life machine and the Neuralink logo, and this is on Wikipedia. So you can read it all if you like. Look here. In April 2021, that was only last year, Neuralink demonstrated a monkey playing the game Pong. Well, you're probably going to be the other monkey, so you can play ping with Pong, yeah? Using the Neuralink implants. While similar technology has existed since 2002, when a research group first demonstrated a monkey moving a computer cursor with neural signals. Scientists acknowledge the engineering process in making the implant wireless and increasing the number of implanted electrodes. Well, marvelous, isn't it? Only you just don't want to be that one being used, eh? Yeah, look, this is about the animal testing. In February 2022, Neuralink said that monkeys died during testing, but they also said no animal abuse occurred. Oh, they died, but no abuse, yeah, okay. They just died horribly, you know, with some electrodes sticking out of their brains, you know. So Neuralink tests their devices by surgically implanting them in the brains of live monkeys. No, they didn't. No abuse, eh? Pigs and other animals. Neuralink's methods have been criticized by groups just as PETA. Well, the government has put PETA, of course, on the terrorist list, eh? Because, you know, if you criticize our masters, and our masters, as we already know, they see us as monkeys, pigs, and other stuff like that. So, well, you can read it yourself, eh? I mean, marvelous people, aren't they now, eh? Hey, Swissy. Marvelous Haldeman. Animal torturers. Alert. Alert, alert, alert. So, Elon Musk's mother is May Haldeman from Canada. Therefore, in Quebec, Canada, there is the Haldeman or Haldeman Castle by Sir Frederick Haldeman, another Indian killer, together with his personal friend Colonel Henri Bouquet, who did a genocide on American Indians through biological warfare, about which I already made videos. So here you can see it about the Chateau Haldeman or Haldeman. The Chateau Haldeman was a castle that stood where the Chateau Frontenac now stands in Quebec City, Quebec, Canada. The building was constructed between 1784 and 1786. In 1784, the then governor of Quebec, Frederick Haldeman, ordered construction of the chateau. It became the seat of the colonial government of the province of Quebec from 1786 to 1791. So Swissy became the governor of Quebec. There you can see him, that's Swissy here. And in 1860, the Canadian government established administrative offices and the headquarters of the Legislative Assembly of Canada in this castle until 1866. The castle was later used as part of Laval University until 1892, when it was demolished to make way for the construction of the Chateau Frontenac. Oh, wow. That's impressive, eh? So, okay, well, we've seen that picture here. And there's this one here. And apparently now it looks like this here. Well, that is a castle, eh? Only Pharaoh can be there. And it's on the Place d'Armes. It means the square of the weapons square, eh, Swissy? Sir Haldeman was born in Yverdon, Swaziland, before going to England as a Swiss Nazi Templar mercenary. He became the governor, or rather governator, of Quebec in Canada from 1778 until 1786, terrorizing the Canadian population. So if you're Canadian, I'd urge you to read the whole Wikipedia of this horrific Swiss criminal, of Elon Musk's very powerful Swiss bloodline. And maybe somebody can go to Quebec, some Canadian, and film the Chateau Haldeman, or at the Place d'Armes, where now is the other castle. So please, somebody do that for me. See what you can find. So this is very interesting, you know, and this is a very important person. So you were all thinking that, you know, England was ruling over Canada, eh? No, you're wrong. You know, because of the order of the Garter of the Knights Templars, they took over. It became a constitutional monarchy, England did. So, and this is, you know, the consequences of it all. So I read it for you. Sir Frederick Haldeman, you know, a ancestor of Elon Musk and his mother, May Musk. He was born in maybe 1718 or in 1791. So in the times of the French Revolution, that was in 1789. He was a military officer best known for his service in the British Army in North America during the 7 Years' War and the American Revolutionary War. So he was killing Americans, you know, who were fighting for their freedom. So from 1778 to 1786, he served as governor of the province of Quebec, and during which time he oversaw military operations against the northern frontiers in the war and engaged in ultimate fruitless negotiations to establish the independent Vermont Republic as a new British province. His administration of Quebec was at times harsh, with the detention of numerous political dissidents and agitators. You know, Swissy here was terrorizing the Canadians. Your ancestors, Canadians. So why didn't you know this, eh? Haldeman was born in Yverdon, Switzerland. This is what Yverdon looks like. Oh, isn't it nice? And this is what, of course, what's the same. And he was baptized François Louis Frédéric Haldeman. He was the son of a civil servant, well, of course, yeah. He became interested in the military at an early age, and the poor prospects for advancement in Switzerland led him to join foreign armies, you know, the notorious Swiss mercenaries, of course under Knight Templar command since 1291. His first service appears to have been in the army of Prussia during the War of the Austrian Succession, with whom he fought at Mollwitz and probably at Hohenfriedberg and Kesselsdorf. He next joined the Swiss Guards of the Dutch Republic. This is what I told you. There were, how many? 150,000 Swiss mercenaries after the 30-year War, which ended in 1648. So they didn't have anything more to do. They killed 20 million people in Germany. So they all went to serve the Dutch king of this horrendous House of Orange, you know. So there was, that happened just before he got born, maybe 100 years before. So you can easily say now that the Dutch police are beating up Dutch farmers, you know, and people who don't want to be locked down. They are Swiss, you know. That's why they can easily knock down and terrorize the Dutch population, because they're not, and they know it. You know, you have to know history in Switzerland, otherwise you won't understand the bloody thing, eh? So where he rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel in the Dutch, so Swissy here became a lieutenant colonel in the Dutch army, the Swiss Guards. This is what they look like, the Swiss Guards, eh? And there, so in the Netherlands, over there, he formed a friendship with Henri Bouquet. You remember that guy? Another Swiss military man with whom he would serve in North America. I made a video about it. Henri Bouquet, also, it says here, was a Swiss mercenary. There was a guy who did the genocide on the North American Indians, using biological warfare and poisoning them with infected blankets with, I forgot the disease, the measles or whatever, something like that. And they all died, you know. They didn't even have to kill them or fight them, you know. It's so Swiss, it's clean, you know, just like how they tortured me in prison when I was a political prisoner for 5.5 years in Switzerland, you know. Torturing me by oxygen deprivation. It's clean. It's just as clean as infected blankets for the Native Americans. Eh? And of course, we had General Custer, who was also Swiss. I also made a video about this on my channel, Gatzefratz. They're all Swiss. And this is because of the Nazi Templars. So, well, you have to read it all yourself. I can't just read it here. And so Canadians, do read this. There was something else, I forgot about it. So this guy was ruling over Canada, you know, very important person, very important. And he was Swiss, Sir Haldeman. And this is the bloodline of Elon Musk's mother, May Haldeman. And Okay, well, anyway, he terrorized the Canadians, eh? And they now they terrorize the whole world. Try to put some cables into your brain, eh? Completely ruthless then and now. The name Haldeman or Haldeman has several writings which change over the centuries, you know. So sometimes written with an E in the middle or an I in the middle or a D at the end. But as genealogists have put it, all Haldemans, whatever their writings, are finally all from the Swiss Emmental. And they are part of the Swiss nobility of Pharaoh. Therefore, the Isis horns here. I'll show it to you. The Isis horns. This is all Pharaoh. They rule in Canada, in Quebec, in England, in America, all over the world. Eh? So here you can see the two goddesses, Isis, with the Isis horns, just like in the coat of arms, the crest of the Haldeman family and ancestors of Swiss nobility, ancestors of Elon Musk. And this is Ma'at with the wings, the goddess Ma'at, you know, the one of the 10 commandments, or actually the 42 principalities, where the 10 commandments are included in. So, and here, in my last video, a fan of my videos, he left a very good comment talking about the anchor I filmed on a lorry. Remember, lorry was passing by, and I was like breaking down the symbols, and it had the ankh symbol and also like an anchor. And so he said, I never thought about this. That so all the honor to him. You can find him in the comments and give him a hand. Give him. So it's even in the word anchor, ankh. It's in the word anchor, like anchored in the law, for instance. You know, this is an official. The law. This is, and it really showed an anchor, the ankh symbol in the anchor, where it was going like round at the bottom here, like, and this is where you rope the anchor. You tie it here in the hole here, and in the logo of the lorry it was round like here, like an anchor, but it was definitely also the ankh symbol in it, and it's in the word ankh, anchor, anchored in the law. So here are these people are the law. They don't care about the law themselves, but for us, I mean, we have to abide by the law. So these are the Isis horns with the sun disk in the middle, and also to be found on the crest of the Haldemans. Very powerful line, eh? Very powerful bloodline. Sir Frederick Haldeman, the Swiss governor of Quebec, also had a son who built the Haldeman Tower in Lausanne, which you can see here. So here you can see what the Haldeman Tower in Switzerland, what it looks like today. There it is. Looks a bit like the Newport Tower by the Knights Templars in America, doesn't it? And same writing, same spelling here as in Quebec. Well, it's the same family. And so here's the guy who had it made, William Haldeman. There he is. He was even a British banker. So, but he lived in Switzerland, right? And so this is in Lausanne. And the Haldeman Tower. So we got the Haldeman Tower, the Haldeman Castle, and so forth, and so on. So there he is, the guy who had the Haldeman Tower built in Lausanne. So William Haldeman, he was born, he lived from 1784 to 1862, was an English philanthropist. Yeah, of course, all the Freemasons are, aren't they now? The director of the Bank of England. This was the director of the Bank of England. Now look, have a good look. Swissy here was the director of the Bank of England. This is what I told you, people. All the banks in the world are Nazi Templar banks. Even the Bank of England. That's why they have a Swiss director of the Bank of England. Like all nations traded with her, remember. They all traded with the Nazi Templar banks. Yeah? He looks a bit like, same features as the mother of Elon Musk. You know, the chin, the nose. Aristocrats, they have long noses. Looks very much like her. Well, anyway, it's the same family, you know. So this is very important. The director of the Bank of England, Swissy here. All the banks in the world are all Swiss banks. He was a member of Parliament, Swissy. British Parliament. House of Commons. You know, where you can see the symbol of the Order of the Garter here, in it. Here's the Garter, you know, the belt here, the Q. This is Q. With on this side the Knights Templars and this side the monarchy. This side the Republicans against the monarchists. So in fact he was not the, I made a mistake, he was not the son of Sir Frederick Haldeman, the other Swissy, but it's the same family. He was a nephew and the heir of Sir Frederick Haldeman. You know. So Haldeman settled permanently at his summer villa in Denantoux, near Lausanne in Switzerland. Yeah. So they're all Swissies, you know, they're everywhere. And he was in international politics and all that, and everywhere. The Kingdom of Piedmont, Sardinia, everywhere in politics. Remember the Shards, Sardinia, probably the reason. Oh, you know, what they do everywhere in international politics. These Swissies, they're just defending their interests, you know, their own interests. So, Haldeman family, very, very powerful, and they're all over the world. Canada, England, they're everywhere. The Swiss Haldeman family, as you can see here, Ernst Haldeman, they are absolutely into internationally slaughtering and terrorizing civilians, like the Swiss SS Ernst Haldeman, a Swiss Nazi war criminal who executed defenseless civilians during World War II, and apparently also American Rangers who surrendered, prisoners of war. Apparently he was a Colonel Standartenführer in the SS who gave himself out for a simple corporal Unterscharführer when he was caught. Yes, the Haldeman Swiss killers all over the world. So here you can, I'll read it for you. Ernst Haldeman, facts. On September 5, 1944, a unit of Belgian Maquis, which is the resistance, attacked a German unit, killing 3 soldiers. 2 days later, the American troops arrived in the area and the Germans retreated. On December 22, 1944, during the Ardennes offensive, the Battle of the Bulge, the village of Bande was retaken by the Germans. On Christmas Eve, a unit of the German SD Sicherheitsdienst set about arresting all men in the village. These were questions about the events relating to the September 5 attack, and then lined up in front of the local cafe. One by one, they were led to an open door, and the SD Sicherheitsdienst man, positioned just inside the door, fired at point blank into each of the victim's neck. All of the 34 men, aged 17 to 32, were killed in this way. Only one managed to flee. This was Léon Prelle, who decided to make a run for it and escaped into the woods. He later was able to give testimony regarding the events. So on January 10th, 1945, the village of Bond was liberated by British troops and the massacre was discovered. One man, a German-speaking Swiss national by the name of Ernst Haldeman, which is a Swiss name only from the Emmental region, was identified as being a member of the execution squad. He had joined the SS in France in November 1942. And in 1944, his unit was integrated with other SD units into number 8 SS Commando for Special Duties. Well, these are the notorious SS Einsatzgruppen who did the genocide on the jaywalkers using like bullets, killing 400,000 people. And at the head of them, there was another Swiss, and he was also a colonel, Standartenführer, and his name was Karl Jäger. Haldeman was arrested in Switzerland after the war. Yeah, sure, he was. Come on. Get out of here. He never did a day in prison. So here you see the work of the Swiss Haldeman family. Here, a lot of dead people in 1945. It looks like a kid, 17 years old. And I didn't read the whole thing here, but it's in French. I can read French, that's no problem. So you can read it yourself here. Just punch pause. Here you can read the name Haldeman. It says pas plus que l'Untersturmführer Krüger qui avec le président donna l'ordre à Haldeman d'exécuter des otages de Bond. There's probably more about the Haldeman, but you can read it yourself. There are the dead people here and here as well. Hey, Swissy. You never do it in Switzerland, do you now, eh? You always do it abroad. And they also executed American Rangers. So, Haldeman family, killing people all over. Here's some more here. Young girl, I think, here. Oh, the whole family got wasted here. Here you can see that, the whole family. Yeah, this is what left of them. Hey, Swissy, why do you do this, eh? Why do you do this, Swissy? Coming after you, Swissy. So probably the Swissy is somewhere, having a number here somewhere, one of these here. Swissy Nazi war criminal. They just love that, killing people, terrorizing people, sticking electrodes in your brain or whatever. Haldeman family. Dig some more in it, eh? Nobody ever heard about this. I presume that the Musk bloodline from Elon Musk's father's side are merely nest providers for the Swiss Haldeman bloodline. So the queen of the Swiss Sisters of Isis could lay her eggs in a relatively comfortable nest and then ditched the nest provider afterwards as he became useless to her personal progress, elbowing her way towards the top for herself and her hatched eggs. Hey, Swissy. Here you get to see some more of the pharaonic idea. You know, the two bee queens, one here and one here, and with the life sign, the Ankh, in the middle. So, and Egypt was in fact a matriarchal society. You know, so the bee queens, you know, like giving life here to lay their eggs. In the Bernese Swiss-German dialect, where the Emmental lays in, the name Haldeman gets pronounced Houdeman, meaning, or Houdeman, meaning Houdenman. In English, strike that man, which is definitely a reference to the Swiss Nazi Templars and their notorious Swiss mercenaries like Sir Frederick Haldeman, the governor of Quebec, and the rest of those Swiss genociders on Native Americans, on slaves, on jaywalkers, and the rest. This here is a genuine Templar's cross in the right color, red on white. And that's why this dude here has been forced to wear a Templar's cross on his chest and controlled by a Swiss Nazi Templar army since 1506. Just another puppet, like all the constitutional monarchies, like the British Queen, that are no real monarchies since they obey the Templars' Republican Constitution, as in a constitutional monarchy, through the Order of the Garter. Jesuits and Catholics are monarchists, while Templars are Republicans who founded Protestantism. The Church has been taken over for a very long time now, and seeing a Jesuit Pope forced to wear the red cross of his enemy on his pontifical robe means nothing more than that Jesuits have no power whatsoever anymore. The Jesuits just have a high standard of education for the aristocratic royalist elite with excellent schools and universities. Nothing more than that, folks, really. When Donald Trump attends a Jesuit university for the elite, that doesn't mean he's a Jesuit. It just means he's an aristocrat, which he is, in fact, and related by blood to the royal houses of Norway and Denmark, which you can see in one of my videos. And remember that Ignatius de Loyola, one of the Jesuit founders, was a Basque aristocrat with a castle and all. So, this picture here by some American religious freaks is entirely wrong. Trump is not a Jesuit. These people who rule us do not even believe in religion, except for using religion as a tool and weapon against the slaves in order to break the warrior's mindset, and to prevent the slaves from taking things into their own hands. Again, you might say. The Vatican belongs to Switzerland. They're Nazi Templars and their Swiss Guard and Sisters of Isis. The first name of May Haldeman, or May Musk, of Elon Musk's ethnic Swiss mother, is yet another reference to the very powerful Swiss nobility of the House of von May. Here you can see it, May, it says in German, is ein Berner Patrizienfamilie. That's Swiss nobility. Here they got the coat of arms here. Of course with lions, you know, a symbol of the aristocracy, concept of, oh, funny, 2 times concept of 3, which is them, of course. Blue for the war. There's probably gold, golden. And this is in Schaffhausen. It's called Ritterhaus. And here again, May. It says May. Die Freiherren von May. So, Haus zum Ritter, here it says. There was that thing there in, yeah, I probably saw that once. And very powerful family. And they're everywhere, you see. They are in, like in Augsburg, they're in Prague. Here are some of their castles here in Switzerland. Schloss Brestenberg. This was Schloss Rued. Schloss Toffen. Schloss Ursellen. Schloss Schöftland. Rebgut Beltruche. Some of their castles. So, and these people, so it says here they're from Bern nobility, and these are called the Bernburger, meaning the Bernese castle dwellers, from the German word Burg for castle, and not to be mistaken with the word Bernbürger with an umlaut on the U, meaning the citizens of Bern. Funny how 2 mere dots on the U make out the difference in between the masters and their slaves. The Bernburger are the masters and the Bernbürger their slaves. Funny indeed, and worth to ponder about. So here it says Bernburger, they are like very secretive group of people in Bern, which is the capital of Switzerland, and who have a lot of power. So this is the U I was talking about. If the 2 dots are on the U, it's called umlaut, then it means the citizens of the town of Bern. And like here, it's from Burg, which means a castle. It says the castle dwellers of Bern. Another thing Homie Ross pondered about is that Elon Musk has a very fitting anagram for his name. When you toss the letters around like in Scrabble. Lone Scum. Now, that'll be a good title for a film. Lone Scum and Planet of the Apes. You, humanity, are the apes of Pharaoh's nobility. A few months ago, like May 2022, Homie Ross, the homeless, or homiless, walked around in Strasbourg, France, when a Frenchie approached, saying he was from the DRM, for Direction des Renseignements Militaires, or French MI, military intelligence. He introduced himself as Jean-Paul and invited me for a bite. And yes, I'm still alive, though it did cross my mind at the moment. And what if? We can all see the concept of 3 and 4 in their logo here, standing for square and compass, with a lot of squares for the concept of 4 in the 3 pharaonic colors, blue, white and red. Everything in several circles for the compass, because with the compass one can draw a perfect circle for the concept of 3 and also 3 letters. And behind we can see the French nuclear aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. He told me that all French terrorist investigations by MI French all stranded dead-end street in Switzerland. So for further intel about it, you can see this in my video here on my other channel, Homeland Security, entitled Abu Musab al-Swissi of Octagon's Islamofascism branch, well, etc. Here he is. This is the guy who organized the terrorist attacks in Paris, and he's Swiss. Of course, he's not a Muslim, he's Octagon. They never found him, never heard of him ever again. Typical Octagon. So Jean-Paul revealed to me that MI French are in Alsace, in the towns of Haguenau and Mutzig. Information about their whereabouts hardly anyone would know, I guess. I never saw Jean-Paul again and never heard of him either. A real spook. So, well, let's feed MI French some more valuable intel on the powerful Swiss Haldeman bloodline, which I got through your comments. Damn, can't even take any more credits on my own videos. All honors go to you guys and girls on this one. So this video here is in fact the follow-up and part 2 of this video here, entitled Lone Scum and Planet of the Apes, on the same channel. So this here is part 1, and the one you're looking at now is part 2. I love this teamwork with you guys and girls, and this is what I found in your comments on the Lone Scum film. And I will only address the person in question by his anagram Lone Scum from now on, and for his female progenitor codenamed Cruella de Vil, so my video won't get lifted out of the FuckTube shop, as in FuckTube shoplifters. Comment number 1. Sean, your film reminds me of the most famous member of the Haldeman bloodline, Bob Haldeman, key player in Nixon's 1972 Watergate Scandal. Swissy did it. Now look, Watergate, here you can see Swissy. Key player H.R. Haldeman, also called Bob Haldeman, Swiss Bob. And this is what I've been telling you people for many years now, and I've given you the proofs that Swissy is in the White House. Her President Herbert Hoover, Swiss. Director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, Swiss, real name Hoover. President Eisenhower, Swiss. Director of the CIA, Allen Dulles, Swiss. President Obama, Swiss. Here it says, they are the key players, Swissy. There were two main scandals in the Watergate scandal. The minor one, the Republican Party breaking into the Democrats' offices at the Watergate building in Washington, D.C. And that triggered the big scandal of the White House. The White House interfering and using the CIA to stop the FBI's investigations of the Watergate burglary. So I read it for you here. Here it says, Bob Haldeman, White House Chief of Staff. Well, with staff they probably mean the magic wand, as in the coat of arms, the crest of the Haldeman Dynasty, of the aristocracy. So I read it for you here. The day after, the Post mentioned that Nixon and his Chief of Staff, Bob Haldeman, secretly discussed forcing the FBI to drop the burglary investigation. Publicly, a White House spokesman refused to comment on a third-rate burglary. Nixon thought from the start that he could cover up how far he was involved. So Swiss Bob here, he's the key player in the Watergate scandal. And there was the big part of that scandal was like the White House interfering into the legal actions of the FBI, you know, to put a halt to the corruption and to cover it all up. I mean, that's Swiss, yeah, covering things up, you know. It's neutral, they never did anything, you know. The Nazis, they brought their Nazi gold there, never invaded Switzerland. They cover it all up, eh? That's so typical Swissy stuff, eh? Covering it up. The main player was the Swiss Harry Robbins Haldeman, also called Bob, and his boss, US President Richard Nixon, also called Dirty Dick. So Dirty Dick and Swiss Bob creating the biggest political scandal the US has ever seen, impeaching the first and only ever president of the United States ever abdicated, all because of a Swissy from the very powerful Bernese Haldeman dynasty. Look at his haircut. Hey, Swissy, nice crew cut, eh? Nice military haircut. You almost look like a soldier. Of course he's a soldier. He's a soldier of the Octagon in the White House. He's a soldier for Switzerland. That's what I tell you. So here it says, I'll read it for you. H.R. Haldeman, Bob Haldeman. Haldeman presided over the most notorious White House staff of the 20th century. Haldeman was convicted of perjury, conspiracy, hey, conspiracy, Swissy, hey, there you got it. That's how I've been telling you all these years. And obstruction of justice for his role in the cover-up of the Watergate scandal. And the only thing Swiss Bob did in defense of his conspiracy against the people of the United States of America was comparing himself with toothpaste, white as in clean white Switzerland, or whitewashing US tax evasion dollars by the Swiss Nazi Templar banks. So he just said, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it is awfully hard to get it back in. Now, what a weird thing to say for someone indicted for conspiracy against the United States. Anyone else would get 3 times life for that in the US, like 500 years in prison. or 25 years for cutting down a plant, but not Swiss Bob. Oh no, Swiss Bob only did 18 months in prison. 18 months for conspiracy against the US. Can you believe that? Just compare that with what they're doing to Julian Assange. Things should be turned the other way around. 18 months for Julian and a triple lifer for Swiss Bob. Here you can see it. Haldeman, a former advertising executive who was credited with remaking Nixon's image in his successful 1968 campaign for the White House, served 18 months in prison for his role in the Watergate. It's a scandal, really. That's the third scandal, eh? First, the minor scandal, like breaking into the Watergate. Then the major scandal of covering it all up and by the White House. And this is the third scandal, letting him get away with 18 months, eh? And here, look. Critics, I'll read it for you. Critics made fun of his German name, short haircut, arrogance, and capacity for detail. Now, that's typical Swiss, they have a capacity for detail, talking about funny things, nobody's interested in, like a toothpaste or something, or things like this, and talking about the details that you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. That's the detail. Just putting us on a sidetrack. And they have a capacity for detail, the Swiss, except they never remember their own crimes. That just doesn't exist for them. And in the media in those days, 1972, they passed him on as German. Germans getting the blame again for everything, as usual. But behind the Germans, there's something else. This guy is Swiss, and they're in the White House. Can you imagine? And there was also this other guy here, John Ehrlichman. Ehrlich, it means honest, so the honest man. That's real funny, eh? The honest man and Swiss Bob and the honest man and Dirty Dick. So, how did he do that? Swiss Bob getting away with conspiracy. Did he use the magic wand of the Swiss Haldemann Dynasty in the motherland? Well, only the initiated of the real power behind will understand, because the incomprehensible Swiss toothpaste parable was a code and secret appeal for help to the Swiss octagon to come and save Swiss Bob's dirty alpine arse. Toothpaste is white, like the White House, or demotic pharaonic head, standing for the Nazi Templars' Republican New World Order horizontal rule, saying that the New World Order is here and won't go away anymore, admitting to all the royals, nobles, and Freemasons that he, Swiss Bob, is a loyal member of the horizontal system, which in the US has come out of the tube in 1776 and will not vanish into the tube anymore, thus pledging his loyalty to Pharaoh's system and their Swiss base. So next time Julian Assange opens up his mouth, he'd better say that prison toothpaste is actually really good. Then he'll be free in no time. Swiss Bob would advise Julian to do so, as in politics White toothpaste most certainly cleans a lot more than just the teeth. Like squeeze out the US economy through tax evasion to Switzerland and their Nazi Templar banks. And in fact, from this moment on, after the Watergate Scandal in 1972, it went downwards with the US, politically, economically, and most of all, morally, squeezed out by Swiss Bob and his octagon pals. Hey Swissy, ain't that so? So I read it for you here. This is by the Earl Wilson, an Earl, eh? Money in the bank is like toothpaste in the tube. Easy to take out, hard to put back. This is probably where Swiss Bob, he got the idea from, because he's all linked up, of course, with the Swiss banks. And this is what Swissy did, as I explained to you in my videos, when they took from the Federal Reserve during the Wall Street crash in 1929. They transferred and stole the money of honest Americans and transferred it to the Bank of International Settlements, specially founded for this occasion. So they got the money out of the toothpaste, your money, in 1929, and it was really hard to put it back in. In fact, they never did. I've told you so many times that the Swiss rule over the US and have taken over all key positions, even into the White House with Swiss Bob Haldeman here, who was convicted of conspiracy. Here, watch my last video, Octagon Rules Over Pentagon. Templar banks own the USA. That someone saved, and I just found it again. So please save and re-upload this older video of mine that apparently the Swissies and their numerous Swiss Bobs all over the world don't want you to see. So here's the channel, pharaonic phacocyte. Okay, I get it. That's a nice one, funny. And here's the title, Octagon Rules Over Pentagon. Templar banks own the USA. Swiss Bob was even allowed to write a couple of bestsellers about his conspiracy against the US and his Swiss conspiracy against the Americans, as if he, the villain, was the hero in the whole story, whitewashing Switzerland and political money laundering, so Swiss Bob could sell himself as the all-American hero, because he knows what Americans like. Therefore, he called the book The Haldeman Diaries, because a personal diary associates with the inner truth of you writing to yourself in all honesty. Very sly move, Swiss Bob, but we all know you, in your entire life, never wrote any diaries at all, because you were just too busy lying to the American public. More like diarrhea instead of diary, Bob. You don't fool me anymore, Swissy. So I show you the German version of the Wikipedia on Swiss Bob Haldeman here, because only here it says that his ancestors are Swiss. It says here his surname is pointing out that his ancestors are Swiss. Sein Nachname verweist auf seine schweizerischen Vorfahren. So I guess the Germans here, they thought by themselves, like Haldeman, that's not a German name, I never heard this name. And so as they do not always want to take the blame for everything, the Swiss did. So I guess the Germans, they put it here in here. I guess as Wikipedia, anybody can just take it off and put it back. And I guess the Swiss, they're gonna take it away quickly. So here it already stops. And I guess this is the first time in history someone talks about like Haldeman, where he really comes from and what kind of a bloodline and dynasty who are really all over the world. So since the Watergate scandal, this is the very first time someone reveals some of the truth behind the scenes and that things are not really what they look like. So that's why it's only in the German Wikipedia, not even in the English, because people still don't know. Hey, Swiss Bobby. So this is the English version. So you see here, there's nothing about his ancestors, absolutely nothing. I only say, well, he has a German name and all this. Here, early life, nothing. It's absolutely nothing about his Swiss origins. And he even afterwards, he had a nice, after the Watergate scandal, he had a nice a business career, they say in it. But this is what I wanted to show you, the role in the Watergate. Look, he was in the Lompoc federal prison. There you go. And here, where he did only 18 months, that's nothing, So here, currently, there are some famous inmates. Well, here you can see them, what they did. Well, these two have a long sentence. But here you can see former. They're all the frauders, with banks and all this, Here, former leading Wall Street speculator. What's his name? Ivan Busky. Maybe they changed the name as well from some sort of a Swiss. And here, conspiracy. His name is Gene Hayes or something. And here, this is Haldeman, White House Chief of Staff. Can you imagine that, This is what John F. Kennedy said, they infiltrate everything. A hijacker here of the Federal Express, he hijacked, well, he has a life sentence. American rep. Here, the personal attorney for President Richard Nixon, Herbert Kalmbach. Another German name, Look at that. Well, he only did 6 months, like for conspiracy against the United States and all this, And here, Goldman Sachs, you got all the banking stuff here. This is, of course, when was that? 2007. Well, the banking scandal was in 2000, or the banking stuff was in 2008 with the Goldman Sachs and all that. His name is Eugene Plotkin. He was plotting things like, And here's also fraud, money laundering. So he only did 3 years, and this one, he did a lot, 14 years. Money laundering, also conspiracy. So how come 14 years and Haldeman, Swiss Bobby, he only did like 1.5 years? I mean, what's going on here, right? And conspiring again, conspiracy. Here, conspiracy, money laundering, fraud. So all the frauders, they put them in this prison here, whatever the name was. What was the name again? The Lompoc. That sounds like an Oriental name. Hey, Lompoc. What does that mean? Yeah. So, where's this guy again? The also here, the personal attorney, Kalmbach. I'd like to have a look in that one and see where he comes from, eh? So there's nothing about the ancestry of Haldeman here. So maybe somebody put it in it, eh? So it's interesting anyway. So here, Herbert Kalmbach, I pronounce it the German way, was an American attorney and banker. He served as the personal attorney to United States President Richard Nixon. He became embroiled in the Watergate Scandal due to his fundraising activities in the early 1970s. But what is interesting, Bach here in his name, actually it means a current, like a little river, like calm, it means like calm, a calm little current. Kalmbach, yeah. Kalmbach was introduced to Richard Nixon, then vice president, by, oh look, there he is again, Swiss Bob. So Swissy here, he introduced another Swissy, you know, like a Trojan horse, into the White House. That's how they do it, huh? Just slowly, slowly, like gnawing away at the pillars of the American dream, maybe, or nightmare, or what shall I say, eh? So Kalmbach handled, like this here, he financed the sabotage and espionage operation of Donald Segretti. I'll show you some more about this guy. Here, Donald Segretti. He's another attorney. Also related to the Watergate scandal. And these guys, they went to a medium security prison, you know, just had a good life there, you know. Okay, later life, he remained to the council of Baker Hostetler. Now, if I hear the word Hostetler, okay, it rings a bell. Swissy. I met Hostetler people in Bern. It's a very typical Swiss name. So the whole Watergate scandal, people, it's Swiss, Swiss, Swiss from the beginning to the end. And the media, they just put it all, they just rubbed it all under the carpet, eh? It looks like Swissy blackmailed the US President Richard Nixon in order to have him take political decisions in the advantage of Swaziland and the Swiss base. This is what is really behind the Watergate affair. Yeah, information later emerged indicating that Nixon and Rebozo had Swiss bank accounts where they could hide millions. That was confirmed by Robert Morgenthau, another German name, but the guy is a jaywalker. The US attorney for New York City in the late 1960s, Morgenthau. Morgenthau had information on a visit Nixon had made to Switzerland, of course, an expert in helping people set up Swiss bank accounts. And Morgenthau was certain one Swiss bank in particular that Nixon used, probably the Hostetler Bank. In the late 1960s, Morgenthau was helping the House Banking and Currency Committee to formulate a new law that would have made it much harder for US citizens to operate secret accounts abroad. However, Nixon removed Morgenthau from office over the protests of senior Republicans as well as Democrats. So you see what's going on. And I have no doubt whatsoever that the ones who pushed Nixon behind the screens to do this was no one other than the whole Swissy gang behind it, like Swiss Bob Haldeman and his pals. So you see, the jaywalker Morgenthau, he was the only decent guy here in the whole shebang. And they just, you know, eradicated him. You know, bye-bye, Mr. Morgenthau. You're just a jaywalker. you know. So this is one of the thing, you know, the jaywalkers are quite nosy probably, and, you know, think for themselves. And this is what the Swiss Nazis don't like at all, you know, these sort of Morgenthau fellas. So again, you know, the jaywalkers are not the enemy, in spite of the fact that they also have an aristocracy who are the enemy, but that's only the aristocracy. And the real enemy with their base, well, you know, Pharaoh and their base in the Alps. Showing it here again. So I think the Swissies, they had Richard Nixon by the balls, and through the Swiss bank accounts, and he was on their pay list. You know, hey, Swissy. And that's why after the Watergate affair, it went downhill for America. And only the jaywalker, Mr. Morgenthau, he tried to do something and make it, you know, with the House Banking and Currency Committee to formulate a new law that would have made it much harder for US citizens to operate secret accounts abroad. He wanted to stop the US tax evasion into the Alps. And this is the reason why it went downwards for America. Tax evasion to Switzerland. Hey, ain't that so, Swiss Bob? So here you can see Robert Morgenthau. There he is. He was the only decent fella around the entire Watergate affair. And here you can read about his ethnicity. Yeah, Morgenthau was born in 1919 in New York City into a prominent, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this, his ethnicity, because the FuckTube machines, they will take my video away. So you read it yourself. Baden is in Germany. Ah, the German Empire, yeah. So his parents were Eleanor and Henry, and yeah, the Swiss Nazis, they don't like this tribe very much, eh? Yeah, sorry, I just can't pronounce it because the machine will take off my video. It already happened to me, you know. So here is the Wikipedia website about Dirty Dick. And look at this here. Early life and education. Through his mother, Nixon was a descendant of the early English setter Thomas Cornell, who was also an ancestor of Ezra Cornell, the founder of Cornell University, as well as of Jimmy Carter and Bill Gates. So Ezra Cornell, he was also the ancestor of Jimmy Carter, of Bill Gates, and of Richard Nixon. It's just one pharaonic Swiss family, you know. As the word pharaoh, it comes out of the demotic per-a, which means the big house. It's one big aristocratic house all over the world, people. So the rest of the information on the Haldeman ancestry and the Haldeman dynasty of a very powerful family who are everywhere on key positions in the world. You can find it in this video here, the one just before, entitled Lone Scum and Planet of the Apes, on the same channel. It says the Swiss Haldeman nobility, same Haldeman or Haldeman. So this is like part one, this video here, part one of the about the Haldeman dynasty. It's a nobility dynasty, and so the rest of the information is about the Haldeman dynasty is in this video here. By the way, Swaziland is feminine, as in Suis, Sœur d'Isis, Sisters of Isis, which you can see in the articles for Swaziland in both German and French, being both feminine. In German, it is die Schweiz for the feminine Swaziland, as you can see here. Die Schweiz, it means feminine. And in French, it is la Suisse for the feminine Swaziland. Here you can see it. Well, this is the town of Fribourg. And here it says Swiss, Suis, Sœur d'Isis, the sisters of Isis. Is, it's from Isis. And this was the first way in French Swaziland was being named by a French word, because the Knights Templars, when they came there and founded Swaziland, they spoke French. And then later on, they also made the German name Schwyz. In German you say Schweiz, but in Swiss German you say Schwyz, which means Schwester der Isis, Schwyz. Swiss, Sisters of Isis, and it's feminine here, la. Le in French it's masculine, and la it's feminine. So Switzerland is feminine, and this is very important to know, that it is feminine, it's not masculine. As ancient Egypt was a matriarchal society, like Cleopatra, you know, etc. Yes, Swaziland is feminine, and definitely the whore with whom all nations traded through her Nazi Templar banks, because all the banks in the world are in fact Swiss Nazi Templar banks. And in Swaziland they call the whore of Babylon, they call her Helvetia, hell, like hell. And they joke with it, you know, that they feel so invincible that it even shows here. I see here 2 6s, and here's the third one. So it says 666. The third one is hidden behind the Swiss Templars cross here. There's definitely 2 6s here. They know it. You know, it's just right into our faces, you know. All nations traded with her. And from the whore of Babylon in the Alps, we come to the comment number 2, saying that the female progenitor of Lone Scum looks like Cruella de Vil of Walt Disney's cartoon 101 Dalmatians, to which I replied 101 Haldeman's. By the way, do you know who else lived in the notorious Emmental region of the Haldeman Dynasty? Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, also called Lenin, lived there, in a town called Zimmerwald, where he gathered all Russian communists in a Swiss conspiracy against the Russian people. Here it says, Lenin and the Swiss non-revolution. It was a Swiss revolution. It's acknowledged everywhere. So it says here in the article, Lenin, the father of the Russian Revolution, worked on his theories for a popular uprising while living in Switzerland. During this time, the Bolshevik leader tried to convince his Swiss comrades of the need for an international revolution. You see, his Swiss comrades. It was again a Swiss conspiracy like the one from Bob Haldeman and all the others out of Switzerland, you know, from the Emmental region. Not very notorious. Yeah, you can read it yourself. I read some parts of it here. When Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov arrived in Switzerland in 1914, he told the authorities he was neither an army deserter nor a coward, but a political exile. Well, that's just the official part of the story, eh? And here, the Russian agitators' radical ideas also fell on deaf ears at the clandestine Zimmerwald and Kiental conferences in Switzerland in 1915 and 1916, attended by dissidents from the European left in defiance of party orders. So remember this name very well, Zimmerwald, because it's in the Emmental. Zimmerwald, yeah? I'll show you some more about it. And well, he was living in Bern, and then he moved to Zurich as well. And I'm quite sure he also was in Geneva. He wrote his mother he liked Zurich very much. Well, of course, it's the financial capital of the world, probably. So he dreamt of an armed uprising. And yeah, so he took a train, you know, the famous diplomatic sealed train to Russia, and then the bloodbath started, all made in Switzerland. And just as today, which you can see in my video, Ukraine War, made in Switzerland. Now, the NSA spy satellite dishes of the Onyx Echelon program are in Zimmerwald, of the notorious Emmental region of the Haldemann Dynasty. So here you can see it. Also, this is in Zimmerwald here. That's Zimmerwald. There's a lot of things going on there, ain't it now? Heimenschwand is also in the Emmental, canton of Bern. And here as well, this is not the Emmental, Loik. It's Valais. Here it says it is the administrative district of Thun, but it still is the Emmental here, I think. But anyway, Zimmerwald is where Lenin and, you know, a lot of things happening there. So here you can see the Swiss Federal Council, you know, so I don't know why there are 8 here. But anyway, they are the, here it says, the 7-member executive council that constitutes the executive branch of the federal government of the Swiss Confederation and serves as the collective head of state, you see. They have 7 heads of state, the beast with the 7 heads, and the government of Switzerland. It meets in the west wing of the Federal Palace in Bern. They got a palace, yeah, sure. So this Federal Council here has indicated that Onyx is not linked to other foreign systems such as Echelon. Here's Echelon. Well, shouldn't pay any attention to what these 7 heads of state say, eh? Just forget about it, what they say. There's no smoke without fire. And here's a picture of what it looks like, the Onyx Echelon interception electronics and dishes of the Emmental region of the Haldemann Dynasty. Probably have their castle is just right next to it somewhere. Eh? Also, the Duke Hartwig von Hund-Radowski, by whom Hitler got inspired, lived in the notorious Emmental region of the Haldeman Dynasty. And I have no doubt they all met up with the equally notorious Haldeman Dynasty from the Bernese Emmental, where a lot of strange things are going on. So here you can see Auschwitz. I was there, I camped outside here, just in front of it, hiding in the bushes here, and with my tent and all. And I pulled up this this notice here, and I finally left it on one of the trains of Auschwitz. It's in one of my films on my channel, Gatzefratz. So, you know, even in the name Auschwitz, in German, Switzerland is called Schweiz. In Swiss German, you say Schwitz, just like this here, Schwitz. And aus in German, it means from. So it says here, Auschwitz, it means from Switzerland. From Switzerland with love, eh? Strange kind of love, you might say. Well, this is how they portray themselves as very lovingful. So I already explained it to you. You know, Auschwitz, it is made in Switzerland. So hey, YouTube Gure. I still had my old channel by that then, in those days, which was taken off. You can see the flag of, I'm probably not allowed to pronounce the country, but you can see it yourself. I don't want to have my film taken off. And so here's the title. The Duke Hartwig von Hund-Radowski from Bergdorf. He was a jaywalker hater, and Bergdorf is in the notorious Emmental, Switzerland, and Swiss Misanthropic Division on my channel Gatzefratz. Hund-Radowski lived and died in Switzerland. You know, they all go to Switzerland, just like Richard Wagner. He also lived like 20 years in Switzerland. It's full of jaywalker haters, and they all go there. You know, I mean they hate the whole world anyway. So it's straight in our eyes. You know, they don't even hide it. Auschwitz from Switzerland. From Switzerland with love. Oh, aren't they charming? Comment number 3. The name Haldeman, also pronounced Haldeman, sounds like Hell Demon from Planet of the Alps. And here you see Dante Alighieri. He said once, the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who, in times of great moral crisis, maintain their neutrality. And this was the guy who said, lasciate ogni speranza voi che entrata. What I saw at the gate of that notorious Templars commandery in the south of France, and which means in English, for the one who enters, there's no more hope. But I entered anyway, and but it was quite dangerous, as you can see in that video. Comment number 4. The Swiss have more extensions than a Swiss army knife. The Swiss Reaper. Comment number 5. The father of Lone Scum is the Nazi NASA aristocrat Werner von Braun, from whom he got the rocket hobby, and they also look alike. The aristocrat Nazi NASA guy Werner von Braun, you know, von, it means he's an aristocrat, eh? He wrote this book in 1950 called Project Mars, A Technical Tale. Yeah, here's the book. Nice little rocket here. And in the book it says the Martian government was directed by 10 men, the leader of whom was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and entitled Elon. It says Elon, yeah, in the book. And 2 houses of parliament enacted the laws to be administered by the Elon and his cabinet. This is what he wrote. Yeah? Well, how is this possible? Eh? And both Werner von Braun and Lone Scum, they have a lot of human material at their disposal. Werner von Braun, he used and he murdered a lot of concentration camp inmates from Auschwitz-Brunau. And well, Lone Scum, he's doing the same thing. He just sees us as just some human waste material to do experiments on and to be wasted, to work, and just a number, you know, human product, as on the image of the in my other video with the guys having in his neck, human product. This is how they see us. So these 2 people, they have a lot of things in common, like this here, like the rocket hobby, number 2. And number 3, the name, Elon, in the book, and the guy's name. This is not a coincidence. It's too much in common. Comment number 6 on Cruella de Vil. Now, why would someone call a child May that was born in April? Oh, funny. Not bad. So here you see Cruella de Vil with the magic wand of the Haldeman Dynasty, or the Haldeman Dynasty. There is the magic wand, like they have in their crest, in their coat of arms, remember? Comment number 7. Sean, go see this video about a woman who knew Lone Scum and got operated by his father, Dr. Joshua Haldeman, who called himself Dr. Malone. Now, when I see Dr. Malone, I couldn't help it seeing M alone, Musk alone, Lone Scum. So the channel is Shalom Girl. This is Shalom Girl. She's not a jaywalker, I think, but like a born-again Christian. Here it says, I love Jesus. And the title is EP125. I don't know what that is. Shalom Girl, Illuminati survivor who grew up with Elon. He opened the portal. So, interesting. Go and see that. Your comment number 8. Klaus Schwab also had a Swiss mother called Erika Epprecht. Now, if I see the name Epprecht, of course, we all have to think about Epstein. And Epp in Old German, if I remember that right, it means a corner. Like in a building or something, like 90 degrees, like, you know. And it also makes me think of Ritter von Epp. He was one of the beginning National Socialists, and he had the Epp Corps. Of course, he was an aristocrat, and in the name Recht, it means right, to have the right to do this, to do that. And Epp is aristocratic, apparently. So Epprecht is most certainly an aristocratic name, no doubt. So I guess that's why Schwabi boy is always hanging around Swaziland and his favorite Davos, because his mother was Swiss. And here I've got a document from Brazil, from here it says 1960. This is a picture of the mother of Schwab. I think Schwab also, you know, is hanging his head a little bit to the right or to the left, like this here. even on a document, you know. And here says Ravensburg, which you will hear in a moment. And she was born in Zurich, here in 1906. Though her nationality is German, it says Alema. So here's her name, Erika Schwab. So this must have been, 1960, born 1906. So she was here 54 years old. Yeah, the lady is 54. So she was already married to the guy called Schwab. And what is interesting too, the Schwabenland, which is the south of Germany, they're ethnic Germans, which I explained you in my videos in the Swiss Beast. And the Swissies, they call all the Germans, they call them the Schwab, like this here. And her parents are Friedrich Elisabeth Epprecht. So here you got the name Epprecht. Erika Epprecht. That was the name she had before she was married. When she was married, her name was Schwab. His signature. Maybe, well, no, there's no use. So it looks solid. This is the mother of Klaus Schwab. And that's why he was hanging all the time, hanging around in Switzerland, or he is still hanging around in Switzerland. Eh? Get all the protection even by the WEF police, special Swiss WEF police. He's one of them, the WEF police, waf waf, like a dog, I could just find this in French about it, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, the parents, it says deux parents, yeah. Eugen Wilhelm Schwab and Erika Epprecht. The parents of, and there's also talk he's a Rothschild, but, well, everybody talks about Rothschild, so. But, and here, Ravensburg. You will hear that in the next video as well, Ravensburg, about which I'm going to show you, by a former member of British intelligence. Your comment number 9. Sean, Klaus Schwab is Swiss. Go watch the video, Who is Klaus Schwab? Investigation by Johnny Vetmore on channel Alex Thompson Eastern Approaches. Alex here informed me openly in a comment that he's former British intelligence of the GCHQ. It's the equivalent of the CIA. And apparently trained to hand out valid intel based on facts only. So go watch the video here, proving Klaus Schwab also being a Swissie, like the rest of them octagon guys from the motherland. So here's the video, Who's Klaus Schwab? By Johnny Vetmore on this channel, Alex Thompson Eastern Approaches. There he is. So he seems to be an honest guy, saying the name of the guy who did all the work, so Johnny Vetmore. And this is quite rare nowadays on the internet and YouTube. They all pinch your stuff, as they did with me, all over. And they just say it's mine. Even really big names who got like 100 times more or thousands of times more views and subscribers, and they just pinch your stuff and all this. So this is a sign that Alex here, he's a decent guy. He mentions the guy who did all the work. So go and watch this channel and his especially this video proving that this here is a Swissie, just like the rest of them, eh? And of course, Homie Ross got quite intrigued to go and have a look at the logo of the GCHQ. How could it be otherwise, you might say? So the GCHQ, it means the government communications headquarters. HQ is, of course, headquarters. And they're situated in this sort of a UFO here called the Donut. Now, I wouldn't like to put my teeth in that one. And they are in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, in southwest England. And so, well, let's have a look at the logo then. I'm not sure if it all fits in the screen. Well, it sort of does, yeah. So look at the G. You know, why they put the square in it, hey? And the rest is like a circle, a perfect circle. And there's, of course, like 1/4 missing for the concept of 3, the rest, what is here, and altogether 4. And so this is square, and with a compass you can make a circle. So it says square and compass. And then this one here, the Q, is of course, as we know now, thanks to Mr. Jesterman from Canada, it's a reference to the Order of the Garter, because this is what the Garter looks like. Then why do they put the gates in it here? 2 gates, right? Well, first of all, because the house where they're being lodged in, the donut, it has like 3 sort of things on it. Yeah, there's one more here. Not here, but it's here. But then again, this one is missing, so might be something else, eh? So, of course, the circle here is the concept of 3 for the compass. And here I see like maybe 4 parts in blue. This is 1 part, 2 parts here, 3, and this is 4. So that might be the concept of 4, but it might be a bit far-fetched. But anyway, here it says very clearly square and compass. And this is, of course, the Order of the Garter, only it's a bit dubious, this one here. So here we can see a part. Here's the fleur de lis, which are the monarchists. And this here is the cross of the Knights Templars. So this is also related to the Order of the Garter, because the Order of the Garter is the organ which combines the 2 ruling parties of the aristocracy, which are the royalists here, and the Knights Templars for the horizontal rule, and this is the vertical rule. They are here. And of course, Britain, here's the crown. I'll show it again, like here. Here you can see it, I'm sorry. And the crown is no, I don't remember what I wanted to say. Maybe put this back here. Oh yeah, the Templars cross is above the fleur de lis. So the Crown or the UK, they are a constitutional monarchy. They're not a real monarchy. They have the constitution of the Knights Templars, and this is why the Templars cross is above the fleur de lis. I'm sorry you can't see it entirely. I should have made it a bit bigger. I'll show it afterwards. All right? It's a promise, if I don't forget. That's the problem with promises, eh? So, here you can see it was formed 102 years ago as the Government Code and Cipher School. And it's called the Donut. We already showed that. Wow. It's like the Pentagon, eh? The British Pentagon. This is the British Pentagon. It reminds me of something, you know? I don't know what. All this around here, it reminds me of something. Maybe you can help me. Leave another comment. This is the annual budget. It's $3 billion in a financial year. 3 billion euros, sorry. Pounds sterling, sorry. And look, the agency executive, the director, is Jeremy Fleming. Oh, he almost looks like the guy from the channel, Alex. I wonder if they all look like that in the UFO, in the donut UFO. Very similar, huh? And of course, Jeremy Fleming, like Ian Fleming, who was also in the intelligence business. He was a commander, like the Knights Templars, a commander, which is like a colonel in the Navy. So he's the director of the QCHQ. And the director of the government communication headquarters is the highest ranking official in the government. Now, of course, he is. A British intelligence agency that specializes in signals, intelligence, information assurance, and cryptography. Right. And, well, I mean, you can read, I didn't read it, you know, I just like logos, you know. And there's a lot more. Okay, I'll do it a bit slower, so you can have a look yourself. Just punch pause, and you guys and girls, you probably never heard of it. And I mean, that's spy work, you know, you don't hear of it, huh? So this is interesting. So the founder, he was 20 years like the director. Here's the list of directors, and this is a Sinclair, you know, Knights Templars, eh? Saint Clair, the Saint Clair, Sinclair. There's a lot of other names for which I can't find any reference. And now there's Fleming, like Ian Fleming. So you think that's a coincidence, eh? You thought with James Bond novels, you know, and Ian Fleming, that was the end of it. No, 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 no. These are bloodlines, people. So this is where they are now, in Cheltenham, Manchester, Scarborough, and here the former sites where they were Hawklaw. Right. And there was something else I thought was interesting. Zircon, what is that? Oh, the satellite project. Oh, they're probably in Switzerland, eh? And that's like the equivalent of the NSA, it says here. There was something I wanted to show you, but I can't see it anymore. Oh, never mind. Okay. This is the GCHQ with a completely Masonic and Order of the Garter logo. Oh yeah, I was going to show you the my promise. Just a minute. Okay, there it is again. It says here, at the heart of the nation's security. Well, security for whom? So you can see here the Templars cross is over the fleur de lis. Here you got 8 sort of leaves, octagon, of course, because they are at the top of it all, like here, at the top of it all. And then there are 3 times a flash, like in a thunderstorm. And in German language, a flash, it's called Blitz, like Blitzkrieg. You know, they're having a Blitzkrieg against us. So this means here's the world, and these here, the Knights Templars, all the way on top, and then here fleur de lis for the royalists, the crown. They are ruling over humanity, over the globe, over the earth, and they're ruling through a Blitzkrieg, the Blitzkrieg. Yeah, that's what it means. And they're using square and compass and. Okay, kept my promise, did I? So I hope this is a bit bigger now. It's all there, you know, here. The octagon, the blitzkrieg, the control over the earth, the crown, and the crown consists of the horizontal rule and the vertical rule of the Knights Templars and the royalists, all together, held together by the Order of the Garter, which allows them to rule over the earth, like going down here through the blitzkrieg. And here it says square and compass. Well, isn't that fantastic? We can go soundly to sleep. Well, good night to you all then, eh? GCHQ, always listening to our customers. Did GCHQ spy on you? It is quite logical that the Swissies and Haldeman, and other Swiss nobility dynasties are on all key positions in the world, because it's their system by the Swiss Nazi Templars founding the very first democratic republic in history in the year 1291, being their little republican horizontal rule democratic New World Order baby, and exported it to the entire world, thus leading to 2 world wars because of the feudal vertical rule. Old World Order monarchies didn't want to leave the scene. And this is what you can exactly see here in this image. You see here the guys and girls from the castle, and he's afraid. You can see that. Look on his eyes. He's shaking, you know. The guy with the fleur de lis here. And all of a sudden, something new happened. Look, the Swiss are coming with their new system, you know. Bang, it's so new, it's still dripping, you know. So the person who made this drawing, you know, this caricature, well, he's initiated. He knows exactly, or she knows exactly what it's all about. I hope you can see it, eh? Here's the old world order, feudal system here, the vertical rule, and here is the new world order, horizontal rule, the democratic republican system. All of a sudden, bang! What are we going to do now, eh? Well, let's make 2 world wars, eh? We got enough slaves, we got enough human material at our disposal, and we can just smoke them and waste them, and at least we can keep our castle, eh? That's what it's all about. Okay, let's do that. So, of course, the Swissies needed to take part in the international export system, and therefore we find them all over the world on all key positions and gradually making our lives more and more miserable with all those Swiss bobs, loan scums, Swiss Cruella de Vil, and Haldeman governators. Swissy and their 7 heads beast system rule the world indeed, although the idea was born in Troyes, France, by the initially poor aristocratic Knights Templars, who then made their utopia in the Alps, as in Planet of the Alps. The planet belongs to the ruling class of the Alps. I'll explain you in this video how the Swiss are behind the Ukraine war. As everything always leads back to the base of all evil in the Alps of Pharaoh's elite, always. And here it says, House of Switzerland, Davos, WEF, World Economic Forum, it says, with the only square flag in the world in the Templars colors. House of Switzerland, Davos 2020. Why does it say House of Switzerland? What house? Where is the house? Well, it's Pharaoh's aristocratic house, like the Perhet, White House of Pharaoh, or the Pertasser, Red House of Pharaoh, as Switzerland is Pharaoh's world base, the Swiss beast, home of the devil and the whore of Babylon. They even say it themselves, the House of Switzerland, the Per CH, Per Confederatio Helvetica. Here it even says, welcome to your House of Switzerland. To whom does your refer to? Well, to all these worldwide descendants of Pharaoh, of all races and all nations, who all traded with the whore of Babylon, because it's their House of Switzerland. I can tell you for sure that this your does not refer to any simple Europeans or any other normal earthlings, because the moment you get too near to your house, or rather their house, you'll get taken apart, arrested, fined, and thrown in prison. By the way, this lady here happens to be Ukrainian, and she says the right thing. Gangster party in Davos. So here you can all see the Swiss octagon guys with their assault rifles here, being afraid of a naked European. Look at the symbol here. In the middle is a circle for the compass. There are 4 arrows around it for the concept of 4, which happens to be the square. So it says the concept of 3 and 4, because the circle is the concept of 3, so it says square and compass. And this thing also is a octagon, because there are 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it says octagon, square, and compass by the gangster party in Davos, with the Swiss octagon guys defending the Swiss beast. The Swiss octagon here will make sure that you, normal earthling, can't attend their gangster party. And here you can see Russian President Putin together with Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum in Davos, discussing the reset on humanity. And the Ukraine war has been decided at the WEF, World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, by the global elite and its various political state gangsters. Only the date hadn't been fixed yet, for which an enormous scandal had them hurry into the Ukraine war. So in this picture you can see Putin here in the Kremlin talking with Klaus Schwab in Davos, Switzerland, and this might have been very well the moment on which Klaus Schwab said, okay, Vladdy, you can go on with your Ukraine war. Go ahead. You got a green light. But first, something else, which is, of course, also related to Switzerland and the Swiss, and for which you should see this video here, made by Chris Hampton and Wolf Clan Media, entitled Watergate, Big Pharma, Switzerland and Organized Crime 2022. For the reasons of censorship, I had to replace the C word in the title with Watergate, as the C word risks my video being taken off, as only the big media corporations are allowed to pronounce the word without risking further censorship consequences. So here is the title here. I'm not going to pronounce that. I'll let you read this yourself. Full documentary. And I'll let you read it yourself. Just punch pause here. And this is on the website. Here are their websites. So you have to watch it here, the video on this thing here. Rich Planet TV, apparently. But you can watch it at some other places as well. But best, of course, watch it here. This is the original. So the guys would be happy if you watch it there. Yeah, Wolf Clan Media. So here it is on Rich Planet TV, show number 296, and it's 1 hour, so that's part 1, and there's also the part 2. It's altogether 2 hours by the US filmmaker Chris Hampton. So go and watch it. I just saw you can also see the video. Here's the title on Brighteon by Wolf Clan Media, but I think it's best to have a look at Rich Planet TV because it's their site apparently, and they would be happy if you watched it there, I suppose. It says in the film that the two biggest pharmaceutical and chemical companies in the world are both by this tiny country in the Alps. Their names are Roche and Novartis, and Roche is the biggest. Where I always thought that Novartis was the biggest, which I explain in this 2020 film here, about the various criminal activities of Novartis, and Novartis having a virus laboratory in China in the area of the 2019 virus outbreak. So here's the title, and it's on my channel, Homeland Security. You see, here they have in China, these ones here, Novartis, they have a virus laboratory, exactly the same place where the outbreak in 2019 took place. So it explains in the Wolf Clan Media film that there is a huge conflict of interest through which the Swiss Roche company made themselves not just billions but trillions of dollars. As the PCR Wu-flu testing machines belong to the Swiss Roche company, with the whole of humanity being forced to make the Wu-flu PCR tests legalized by all those gangster politicians coming together also in the same country of Switzerland, who are all working for some multinational company from Switzerland and its various lobbies, meaning that the Swiss Roche company had the PCR virus testing machine ready before 2019 Wu-flu, so it just needed a worldwide bug to make some easy bucks and trillions of dollars fraud profit. So go watch that film. Chris is a good guy who also wants a better world, and I was happy to finally find someone like Chris Hampton who has also realized that there's something rotten in the state of Switzerland. I'm quite sure that all the Russian rumors about those biolabs in the Ukraine are just fairy tales, made by those whom you can see here, who don't want you to think about Switzerland as the center of all crimes against humanity. And it's here where I wanted to explain you the Swiss connection to the Ukraine war, as in Ukraine war made in Switzerland. Our masters just flipped the switch from one day to the other. From one day you didn't hear anything anymore about the thing to the left starting with the C, and all of a sudden all talks were about the war. And the whole Ukraine war is a distraction of something very important that happened only 4 days before the beginning of Putin's Prussian war on the Ukraine, starting on February 24th, 2022. So, just for the record, I show you here one more time the 2022 Russian invasion of the Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, 2022. So I'm going to show you what happened on February 20th and what triggered the Ukraine war, the reason of the Ukraine war, which is made in Switzerland. So 4 days earlier, on February 20th, 2022, a huge financial scandal related to the Putin's pals and the Swiss banks erupted by the name of Swiss Secret in French, meaning Swiss secrets, which is the largest ever leak from a major Swiss bank, involving more than $100 billion from over 30,000 clients of the Swiss bank by the name of Credit Suisse, and therefore the name of the scandal called Swiss Secret or Swiss Secrets. So here you can read about it, Swiss Secrets. On February 20th, 2022, the Süddeutsche Zeitung reported that over a year ago it had received secret data through a secure digital mailbox on more than 30,000 Credit Suisse bank customers, etc. And it goes, it's a leak, details of more than $100 billion. So February 2022. So this is the name of the bank here, Credit Suisse. That's why the name Swiss Secrets or Swiss Secret, same thing. Swiss is the name for Switzerland in French, like the Sisters of Isis, remember? Les Sœurs Suisse, Sœur Isis, the Sisters of Isis. And so this is only 4 days before the war. And I've been telling you all the time since more than 11 years now on YouTube that every war gets organized and decided out of Switzerland. Every single major war, even the small ones, it gets always decided in Switzerland. So here we can see another perfect example. So I made videos about it, like the Nobility World Wars and the Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil, in which I give all the proofs that Switzerland, you know, the beast of the Alps, and every war gets decided there. And now we can see it so clearly with Putin and the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and Zelensky. They're all there. It always comes out of Switzerland, people, believe me, because Switzerland was founded by the Knights Templars. And you see the dates here, February 20th, 2021, only 4 days before they decided to cover it all up with a major war. And actually, on the very day, the Germans and their Süddeutsche Zeitung newspaper and the OCCRP, Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, were supposed to have a live broadcast about it on the internet on February 24th, 2020 at 1800 hours Central European time. Then the Ukraine war started, and nobody talked about the biggest Swiss banking scandal ever, no more. And you can see it here. On February 24th, 1800 hours Central European time, they were going to talk about Credit Suisse here and the Swiss secrets. And this, dear people, is the reason of the Ukraine war and the exact day and time it started, to cover this up. And as a matter of fact, nobody ever talked about it anymore ever since. On the list are a lot of dictators, aristocrats, drug lords, mafia bosses, and a lot of Putin pals, like the Belarusian Alexei Aleksin, a close associate of the Belarusian dictator Lukashenko. Another Putin pal is the Syrian Abdul Halim Kadam, or the Venezuelan Luis Carlos de Leon, an aristocrat, and the Venezuelan Nervis Villalobos. So here at the Swiss Secrets website, and again February 20th, 4 days before the Ukrainian war. So here it says notable people named. So Abdelaziz Bouteflika, another dictator, and as Putin, I mean, he's full in the Middle East, you know, in Syria and all that. It's not the Russian people, really. And King Abdullah of Jordan, aristocrats, and the Queen Rania. Look, does she look Arabic? I don't know. Oh, here he is, Alexei Aleksin, a Belarusian businessman who's closely associated with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. In summer 2021, the European Union, USA, Canada and Switzerland imposed sanctions on Alexin as a wallet of Lukashenko. So that's where the money goes from, the Belarusian people, who are also a victim of it all. So they would lose all their money, you know, if this would have come out. So it needed a little war, yeah, in the Ukraine, which will be over soon, I think. You know, it's not going to be a third world war. It's just a distraction. And here's the other one, Alexander Lukashenko, the dictator. It's all they're all Freemasons, Knights Templars, and you know, you name it. Yeah, Hashim Yavan, Bakht. They're all pals of Putin and Lukashenko. They all know each other, you know. And here, Haji Saifullah Khan Bangash. He was the Minister of Finance. So yeah, he's there where the money is, you know. So this is how he got hold of the money of the people. Oh yeah, this is the House of Bourbon. Actually, I think it's Bourbon, the two Sicilies. And he's a pretender to the French throne. You know, it's the nobility. And look at the Templars cross around his neck. A white Templars cross with a crown over it. It's all aristocracy, dictators. Anas al-Fiki, Egyptian politician. Ivan Guta, Ukrainian. He had moved over 200 million into shell companies, etc., etc. Ukrainian agricultural baron. There he is, Abdul Halim Kadam. He was a Syrian politician, the vice president of Syria, high commissioner to Lebanon. Oh, they know how to get those titles, eh? And he was a loyalist of Assad. And they're all pals of Putin. Putin was in Syria. I mean, you just have to look at the Wagner group. Where, in what countries have they been fighting or terrorizing the people, rather, who are fighting for their justice, you know, in certain countries, and don't want their money being stolen. So then they send in the Wagner group, and all these countries, you know, they're all pals of Mr. Putin, of course. Zahid Ali Akbar Khan, engineer research laboratories, a lieutenant general. Vakar Ahmed Khan in the Senate. All these people, they all are McDonald's Pakistan, a businessman, a sultan, another aristocrat, yeah, Sultan Ali Lakhani. They're all on the list, and many others. There are 30,000 people on the list. Can you imagine? This list is a bomb, you know. And they didn't want further talks about it. Luis Carlos de Leon, you know, de Leon. It means he's an aristocrat. Former Prime Minister of the Ukraine, Lazarenko. So he was probably under, this guy was under the other dictator, like in the Ukraine, the one who was the president at the time of the Euro Maidan, Ronald Lee Fuchshu, a chairman of the stock exchange, you know, that they all know where the money is. Well, Marcos, he's very corrupt, a dictator, a kleptocrat, that means he's stealing, you know. His wife, same, they're all very corrupt, known for this. Hisham Talat Mustafa, the parliament of, so he took 800 million, and it's all Credit Suisse. So again, that's why they call it the Swiss secrets. Gamal al-Din Mohammed Hosni el-Sayyad Mubarak. Well, that's another aristocratic name. It says World Economic Forum behind the picture. You can see that. Said Kair, the intelligence, you know, they all go for the key positions so they can keep the people in hostage. Rana Mubashir, a journalist. Khaled Nezar, a general. And his father was an officer in the French army. And here Akhtar Abdur Rahman, another general. They're all, and he's from the ISI, the secret intelligence of Pakistan. Billy Rautenbach. We get to the South Africans here. This is, well, we don't say Zimbabwe, we say Rhodesia. Zimbabwe is not a good name. It's not the real name. Kosim Roba, Tajikistan, well, I mean, Radulovic, a Serbian drug lord. They're all, you know, the Swissies, they're like drug lords, you know, give them a lot of money. And the Swiss are proud of it, you know, of their banks, you know. It's about the only thing they have, wealth and banks, you know. For the rest, it's empty, you know. It's just like a spiritual, mental hole, you know. There's nothing there. It's empty. It's only for the rich, and it's only about money. For the rest, it's a boring, empty, not free place. So what was he? Hussein Salem, a businessman from Egypt. And of course, the list is far much longer than this here. It's 30,000 people. And I guess 30,000 people, they haven't even been through it all, you know, it's so much. Armen Sarkisian, you all see the name, the syllable Sar in his name, meaning the king or pharaoh, like in a sarcophagus, or Caesar, the Tsar. So this is another aristocrat. He was the prime minister of Armenia. They all go for all these pharaohs. They all are on the key positions, and then they go stealing from the people. You know? I mean, that's what the aristocracy has always been doing. Eduard Seidel, a German businessman, the biggest bribe scandal in German history. Here we got Alvaro Sabrino, an Angolan banker. So he's got a Portuguese name because Angola was a Portuguese colony, and yeah, I was sent there in the war when the Portuguese withdrew from their colonies in 1966. Then the Russians came, and it was during the Cold War. So South Africa said, well, we don't want those Russians right next to us, because they promised the Angolan people to come with agricultural like help and tractors and all that, and agricultural machines, but they came with tanks and helicopters, and so a 23-year war started off from 1966 to 1989. That was the end of the Soviet era in 1989. Then the Russians, they withdrew, and which is called the Border Wars, and well, he laundered 5.7 billion. You know, here. Then we got James Soong, another from the People's First Party in Taiwan, from the Taiwan frigate scandal with France. Omar Suleiman, a general, intelligence officer, you know, God knows how many people he tortured. The vice president of Egypt, and he was in the intelligence, just like Mr. Putin himself. And Nadezhda Tokayeva, First Lady of Kazakhstan. It's a funny country anyway, Kazakhstan. Remember how the Russians were there just recently, you know, like in, what was it, January? Vasif Talibov, Azerbaijan, another authoritarian ruler of the Nakhichevan Autonomous Republic. And here's, I never heard of this, so it's some sort of a, next to Armenia, a Islamic republic, who are not really very Islamic. So Antonio Velarda is from the Ndrangheta. Remember how I made this video about it, how they have the same rituals, satanic blood rituals, like the Navy SEALs and the Knights Templars and the Freemasons. Calabria, there's the Ka in it, you know, meaning the soul when you're still alive, like in America and Canada. All these, they're all pharaonic names, the origins, yeah. And here, Nervis Villalobos, he funneled almost 25 million and 11.5 million euros through Credit Suisse, through Andorra. That's a principality in the Pyrenees, in between the mountains, in between France and Spain, where you can buy cheap stuff because they don't have any, no taxes being paid. Well, here you got Hugo Chavez. He's also on the list. You know, they all got nice smiles, and then they steal everything off you. And Bruno Wang, a businessman and a philanthropist. Okay, difficult word. And you know, they earn a lot of money, and then they just give like 0.01%. They give it away, so everybody thinks, oh, he's harmless and what a nice person, you know. They always do this, so they sort of bribe us with it, you know. And well, here the rest. And here are some other Swiss leaks here from 2015. You got the Paradise Papers from 2017, the Pandora Papers. It's all related to Switzerland, eh? This is even that long ago. I mean, have you heard about it? I haven't. They just, you know, it's all hidden under the Panama Papers. Well, we heard about that one. And now we got, you know, banking in Switzerland. So, people, this is the base of all evil. You know, I've been telling you this, you know, and they just want to hide it and rub it under the carpet. So it needed a little war in the Ukraine, which is going to end soon. Mark my words, it's not going to be a world war or something. It's just, they want a new system. As I told you in my previous videos, they want to mix everything up, and it's the agenda, and then give everyone the bug war poison of Pharaoh. The list of criminals, dictators, oligarchs, aristocrats, and polytricksters of the Swiss secrets scandal also corresponds with the list of countries where Putin's private Wagner oligarch army has been active in order to protect dictators and drug dealers, aristocrats, and the rest. So this is, in fact, it says here, join Wagner, join PMC, private military company Wagner, to protect the peace and tranquility of some civilians from bandits and terrorists. Well, this is inverse speech, of course, it's a lie. It's exactly the other way around. You know, they always lie. All these politicians. It's a politician army, you know, of the oligarchs. You know, so this is a complete lie. In fact, the Wagner Group, it attacks the civilians, and it protects bandits, oligarchs and terrorists. People from the same countries the Wagner Group were active in can be found on the Swiss secrets list, as it's the aim of Pharaoh's nobility to parasite on humanity and steal from entire nations and peoples with the help of Switzerland, which is Ali Baba's cave of these pharaonic robber barons. Look, I almost made this film almost 10 years ago, in 2014. Ukraine crisis. Rich Russians move their money to Switzerland. For fear of sanctions, many wealthy Russians now move their money to Switzerland, being a neutral country. Now it's party time for the Swiss private banking industry, based on information collected from Swiss top bankers. So here you can see this. It's from May 10th, 2014 on my channel Gatzefrat. Here's the title: Octagon orders and Putin obeys. This is how it is. So, and as Putin himself in 2014 had already $2 billion frauded dollars in the Swiss banks, I suppose the Prussian Putin is also on the list somewhere, and probably under another name. I already showed it here in my latest film, The Black Prince of Prussia, here on the same channel, Gure, about Putin. Already 10 years ago, he was having $2 billion in Switzerland. Yeah, and this is apart from the Swiss secrets scandal. This is being written today, how Swiss markets help pay for Russia's war in the Ukraine. And commodity markets are in the spotlight as Russia keeps selling its oil and gas through specialized dealers in Switzerland. The business brings in billions of dollars that could be used to fight the war in the Ukraine. So commodities are in fact products that haven't been harvested yet, like oil and gas. It's still in the ground, or like wheat in the Ukraine, which is going to be very expensive because the people in Ukraine and maybe in Russia as well, they can't sow the wheat now, so there won't be any harvest. So the wheat which isn't there yet, that has to be like should be harvested like in October this year. This is called a commodity on the stock exchange. Yeah. So there's a lot of speculations going on with commodities. And commodities can bring down the entire stock exchange and bring another financial crisis, which might be very well be the case because of the oil, gas and wheat commodities, which are going to be very unstable now. So here you can read it once more. Revealed: Credit Suisse League unmasks criminals, fraudsters and corrupt politician. Swiss secrets. So the Swiss cross is like turned around and it opened the lock. Here's Switzerland. It's a mountain full of money. So therefore, because of the Swiss secret scandal, Vladdy the liar knew that he was gonna lose everything he had robbed from the Russian people and put on Swiss bank accounts in the motherland of the financial elite. So it needed a distraction in order to suffocate this huge financial bank affair. So 4 days later, Putin started this strategically senseless Ukraine war in order to rub this latest Swiss banking scandal under the carpet, and for some other reasons I already mentioned to you. Thank you, Switzerland, for making this war possible. The art of distraction and mission accomplished, and the whole world only talking about the Ukraine war distraction, with the world media liars leading the general public opinion to follow this diversion and diversionary war. So the global financial elite and oligarchs like Putin and his pals have all the time to transfer their accumulated wealth from the Swiss banks, from their Swiss caves and Swiss safes, to a safer place. Thus, nobody talking about the Swiss secrets scandal anymore. Swissy, you've got a lot of blood on your hands again, of innocent European children getting butchered because of you, Swissy. With anybody who dares to talk about it goes to jail, gets terrorized and tortured, as you did to me and my family, Swissy. For Pharaoh's world elite, their various dictators, oligarchs, and their gangster base in the Alps, the deaths of thousands of Ukrainians and hundreds of slaughtered Ukrainian children is just a mere collateral damage and a small price to pay for the safety of their wealth and treasures of this murderous gang ruling over humanity. The Swiss Secrets Credit Suisse Bank used to have another name before 1997, which was Schweizerische Kreditanstalt, with a logo reminding of a Nazi swastika. So here you see their logo, which they had before and during the Second World War, you see. Here it says Schweizerische Kreditanstalt. And they had another big scandal in the 1990s about the jaywalker bank accounts, which they wanted to keep, and they had to pay out 1 or 2 billion, I think 1 billion. So, and after that, I think it was in the same year, 1997, they changed this swastika sort of logo towards the their new logo. They're real smart. They're always into hiding, the Swissies, right? Like the hidden bank, the hidden hand of the Freemasons. So Schweizerische Kreditanstalt. So you see this here, they got both names. Here in German, Schweizerische Kreditanstalt. Here they got their swastika logo with a lot of squares in it, for the square and compass. And the French name has always been Credit Suisse, the Swiss secrets. And this is from 1990, and they changed the name and the logo until to the French name, Credit Suisse, in 1997. And this is from 1990. And I think the scandal with the jaywalker bank accounts out of the Nazi era, with all these people murdered by the Nazis, and the Swiss didn't want to give it back. I think it was in the same year as from 1997 or around there. And then they completely changed the logo. Of course, the Nazis and Mr. Hitler, they adored the logo, of course, And also the Freemasons, because it got a lot of squares in it. The compass should be here as well somewhere, but I should have to study it. And of course it's in red and white Knights Templar colors. So here you can read it. So it was not only the Credit Suisse here, but here the Union Bank of Switzerland, called UBS. But the year was 1997, and the Credit Suisse, they were deep into it as well. You know, they were a bit smarter. They already destroyed the papers. And so this guy here, Christoph Meili, is a Swiss-American whistleblower and former security professional. In 1997, Meili illegally disclosed to third parties that the Swiss bank Union Bank of Switzerland was destroying documentation of, I can't pronounce it, sorry, after a federal arrest warrant, etc. It was a huge scandal. Oh yeah, they had to pay $1.25 billion dollars to the jaywalkers. So of course I can't pronounce this word here, because if I do, my video might be censored by the jaywalker censorship. And so this guy, he visited me once in Bern when I was still in Switzerland. Really nice guy. We had dinner together, and good person. And so we stayed the whole day. Here you see, you know, Credit Suisse, you know, they're involved in it anyway, you know. They're all involved in it. And we got here the Swiss Bankers Association. I wonder what kind of a logo they have. Might be interesting to know that. Well, let's have a look then. So it's the same year when they changed this sort of a swastika logo. You understand? Always, you know, sly bankers, you know. Oh, look, they got a red dot. That's all, the sun. And the red dot for the, meaning the compass, you know. So, because this is Amun-Ra. And so there should be the square as well somewhere as well. But the square was already in the swastika logo. But okay, it's not really obvious. But must be a square somewhere. And in the other one, there must be somewhere a circle referring to the compass. So when you read this Swiss Nazi propaganda about Switzerland having the lowest crime rates in the world, it is of course a lie and inverse speech, as they are in reality the biggest gangsters who ever walked on the earth. And of course, for the major crime league they play in, of Swiss banks and Swiss pharmaceutical companies, you must be able to present a so-called safe environment to attract the various criminal clients from all over the world to deposit their stolen wealth in a safe environment. Strictly held together by the authoritarian Octagon and its corrupt Swiss Nazi police and fascist Swiss authorities, who by all means have just one thing in mind, and that's to keep a low profile on a national level, abiding by the Swiss Omerta, laws of silence. It says 1 in 2 citizens in Switzerland have guns. Lowest crime rates in the world in Swaziland. Well, it really looks like paradise, doesn't it now? But they just don't talk about the major crime league they're in, eh? People, I say it again, there's only one way to stop all these wars and injustice towards humanity, and that's to entirely annihilate Switzerland. With their Nazi banks, their highly criminal pharmaceutical companies, their totally useless ONGs in Geneva, like the United Nations, the Red Cross, and the rest, and their conspirational Swiss WEF, World Economic Forum. So here we can see the former revolutionary leader Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, and I'll read it for you here. After the Swiss police accused Libyan leader, so I repeat, the Swiss police accused the Libyan leader, Gaddafi's family, of criminal activity in Switzerland. So that was a lie. As the Swiss police, they always lie. And I know them, they lied a lot towards me and my family. Then Gaddafi submitted a proposal to the United Nations to abolish Switzerland and divide it up between France, Germany, and Italy. Good idea. Just eliminate and reset the damn place called Switzerland that has already too long been the alpine base for all the world's robber barons. Enough is enough, Swissy. Let the vengeance of the revolutionary leader be upon you, Swissy. And if I, Sean Ross, must be his spell of vengeance, then so be it, Swissy. In May 2022, a few months ago, the American reporter Jack Posobiec and his entire crew got arrested in the WEF's Davos in Switzerland in order to prevent information from coming out of the most secretive of all nations. Yes, also journalists must abide by the Swiss laws of silence, and Templars Omerta by their founding father, Godefroy de Saint-Omerta. So, for this special occasion of hindering journalists to do their work, the Swissies deployed their special WEF, World Economic Forum police, the WEF police, who are there to only defend the interests of the WEF against anyone who sticks his or her nose too deep into the WEF's ugly little Swiss secrets. So this is the logo of the guys who arrested the journalists in Davos at the WEF meetings. So here is a bigger picture here. So the horns of the logo have each a half circle and form together a full circle representing the Freemason compass. So this is both a half circle and together it's a full circle for the compass. Because with a compass one can draw a circle or a semicircle. Each goat has only 3 legs for the Freemason concept of 3. You see, they only have 3 legs. There's a leg missing. You know, what's going on? There's a leg missing, eh? The Swiss are so precise, you know, they would have put here 4 legs. So this is not a mistake, it's on purpose. The 4 crystals here, there are 4 of them here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 crystals below have each 4 sides for the concept of 4, representing the Freemason square. So altogether it says square and compass for the initiated. Also, the crystals look like obelisks, which is the symbol of the pharaonic domination. Pharaoh's dominating you, Mr. Jack Posiviak, and your TV crew. Pharaoh can take away your freedom and arrest you while shoving his occult logo right into your face. And here is another badge, which I'm going to show you now. Let's find a more close-up picture of the thing. So there we go. Here's the other logo. So here says Ordnungsdienst. Dienst, it means service, and Ordnung, it means order. The service of the order. But here it's order like in the sense of bringing order, not in the sense of a secret order. And here it says Graubünden, which is a canton of Switzerland, and here it says Polizei, Kantonspolizei Graubünden. So it means the canton's police of the canton of Graubünden. Grau, it means grey, and Bünden, maybe it's from the word Bündnis, meaning an alliance, the Grey Alliance, or what do you know. So this seems to be some sort of a dude here. Here's his helmet and his head. Here's his legs. Here the kneecaps he's having here. And he's got a rifle or something. I don't know what this is, like a little backpack or something. But why the circle, eh? In the way that it's, you know, like seeing it in 3D, it's also an oval, the Oval Office from the Vesica Pisces. So why the circle? I mean, kind of strange, isn't it? Well, with the compass, you know, you can make a circle. So then where's the square? Oh, look at that. Here's a square, yellow square, blue square, yellow square. So only in this part here, it says square and compass. Over the Grey Alliance, here you got the Grey Alliance, eh? Our masters are true perfectionists. Therefore, when the slaves insert their favorite movie into the DVD machine for Pharaoh's matrix of the digital world, they have to push the concept of 3 for play and make it work, because the triangle is them and side of pyramid's hierarchy. This is them. This is the side of a pyramid. It's a concept of 3. And this is us. This is the base of a pyramid. It's a concept of 4, where it says stop, you know, and here it says play. They can play. And these are the 2 columns or pillars of Yashin and Boaz for the pause. They, our masters, are the players, concept of 3, and pyramid's side for play, while you are the concept of 4, square, at the bottom of the pyramid, standing for stop, because the slaves are static and stuck, who haven't even advanced in the last 2,000 years, while they are dynamic, call themselves the players, advancing in every term of the word. I've been telling you this all these years about the concept of 3 and 4. This is the concept of 3, the side, and down here, if you look at the bottom, it's a square, It's the concept of four, the slaves, you. So, why didn't you see it, dummy? You touch it every day. You see it every day. And still, you didn't realize. This, in fact, is how hidden everything is. You see it, but you don't see it. Well, you didn't see it because of what I'm telling you here. That the players are ever more advancing, develop themselves, and get stronger by the day, while you, their slave, and the rest of your lot are ever more degenerating into sexual aberrations in your quest for comfort, heaping up material goodies and getting weaker by the day, imprisoned in your comfort zone, accepting all the players' new laws. Just think of it the next time you lay back and enjoy the show of your own downfall, punching their occult symbols of the concept of 3 and 4 for play and stop, that Pharaoh is your master and Switzerland is his base.